evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're all having a wonderful night tonight. Tonight, we are talking about a lot of wonderful happenings in the industry. For some reason, it is news again that Anderson is getting sold to Ruger, even though we broke that story like a month ago at this point. On top of that, we have, let's see here, we have a couple ex T-Rex Arms employees giving an interview with a small channel. We'll talk about that later on. Harbor Freight gets sued for copying Streamlight because they copied Streamlight, and some slight updates to the HPA and Short Act. But before we get into all of that, ladies and gentlemen, first of and foremost, thank you guys for hanging out, watching us. The support has been absolutely wild over the last couple months, just hanging out and talking with you guys. It is truly a pleasure and a great honor, and probably it's just something that I don't really deserve. So hats off to you guys for making all this happen. So with that out of the way, Optimal Prime John, how's your day going, sir?
Oh, doing pretty good, doing pretty good. As soon as the stream started, I realized I had to go do something, so I'm gonna bounce out of here immediately, but you guys have an amazing stream. I might be back at some point. Sorry. But yeah, having a good day other than that.
Fantastic. We'll have a good dinner, sir. Bones, how you doing, homie?
I'm doing good. I'm staying hydrated on this fine evening, and excited to see what we're getting into. Something just got dropped 7 minutes ago from a very big content creator. I hope we get to talk about live.
Was it really just a few minutes ago?
7 minutes ago that video dropped.
7 minutes ago. Apparently Colin Noir dropped a video entitled Is the Gun Community Toxic? And let me tell you, it certainly is, or at least it's going to be if I have anything to say about it. And also joining us from the weight room, our weight room correspondent, our Subway Surfer stand-in, Lost Arrow. He's in there getting some squats, so we get to enjoy the canyon work going on over there as the show goes on. Richard, how's your night going?
Yeah, it's going great. I just happened to see some glorious things over on the Coleon Noir channel about the gun community's toxicity in our city.
I have to look that up now because
it's with the Humble Marksman. It's a full podcast with the Humble Marksman. I like
David too. Me and David talk, so that should be fun. But let me pull up that video so that I can send it to the chat so that they can watch it while we discuss these other topics for a while. It's an hour and 12 minutes long.
It's a long video.
Bro, no way we get through that. Not even possible with this. Oh, also, before we get growing into this, did I see C and Arsenal in the chat for a second? What are you doing here on this fine night? He is here tonight. He must not have anything else going on. Let's see here. The Range became a new member, which is absolutely wonderful. But even more wonderful than that, he gifted 5 memberships to the channel. So if you are one of the fine gentlemen that got gifted a gifted member, which means that you can use emotes in the chat, I want to say, and probably some other benefits, not really sure, go ahead and say thank you to The Range for doing that. That is quite wonderful of you. Appreciate that, sir.
Very huge.
And if you guys are on the Discord and you received a membership, DM either myself or John, and we will get you.
That's true. I always forget about that. Yeah, if you are a member of the channel, just message us on the Discord, which I should probably also put that link in chat as well.
Yeah, we can do that later.
Well, I know it's always rough when like 100 people join at once, but that way there you can get into the VIP area and get away from the gen pop, as they say. Art Vandalay for 189 says punctuality is a Christian value. Guy must be Jewish. Rude, very rude. I can confirm that we are 0% Semitic on this channel, sir. Can't be anti-Semitic if we're 0% Semitic.
I'm Black Hebrew Israelite.
I keep forgetting about that. Damn it. Logan sucks at shooting for 5 says Art Vandalay, you clearly haven't heard of Orthodox time, which Orthodox time is early AF. Some would say all the way back to the beginning. Thank you very much, Logan. Sucks at shooting for 5. I sent you an invite, by the way, if you did want to hop on. You don't have to. But okay, he is actually loading ammo as we speak. So Central Stance Defense for $2. Thank you, sir. Says that intro music had me like, and then part 2 came. Yeah, that remix is funny. It goes between super heavy and white girl summer music, so it's quite fun. And Helix92 also became a new YouTube channel member.
Let's go.
Thank you. Heck yeah. Okay. We will. I'm going to bookmark this as well. Let me open that in a new tab. Carl Casarda's Satan Body Pillow for $4.99 says, "Hey John, my cousins and I started a Christian schizo podcast. It's called Culture Warfare." Type that in, and we have a teaser up now. First 3 episodes on Friday. Send me the link if you can via focustrip@gmail.com, Instagram, or a Discord DM, and I will take a look at that. Appreciate that, sir. Hope it's good.
I hope you don't get sued by Tim Pool.
Yeah, don't. Who knows,
We're
bro?
going to talk about that.
Okay.
He's a little litigious.
I love gay
Now,
people.
most of these memes are courtesy of Mr. Mad Mel in the Discord, just the lowest quality, lowest effort memes possible. But Ruger has indeed bought Anderson, and by bought Anderson, we kind of mean eat Anderson. Like they took all of the equipment, all the manufacturing stuff, and took down a lot of their Instagram posts and a lot of their other social media stuff. So Anderson Manufacturing is basically gone. I don't think they're gonna. I don't think they're salvaging any of the brand name, any of the lines. It is essentially just getting absorbed into Ruger.
I had to break the
what I can tell.
news to my local gun store earlier today, and they were not happy.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine it sells well enough on the local level because you always got people coming into your store just looking to buy a cheap AR, right? And Anderson is just one of those options.
I know people who will go in and buy a pistol, and then just because they're doing the background check already, they will buy a $45 lower and put it on there.
Yeah. Now, as a flex, I do indeed have an SBR'd Anderson lower behind me, which is worth no less than $10,000. I know what I got. Limited edition, SBR'd engraved.
Okay, Tim.
Can't find those anymore. Yeah, no kidding.
What do you guys think Ruger's going to do with the manufacturing capabilities they got from Anderson?
I have a hypothesis. I think that they're going to use the manufacturing facility or the capabilities to make lower receivers in-house for themselves, and they're going to take the Gen 3 Glock clone and use they're going to adapt that to be the RXM line.
Yeah, so they're going to take, because Anderson Manufacturing had the Krieger, I think it was a Krieger, their Gen 3 Glock clone. And so what Anderson is simply, or what Ruger is simply going to do is they are going to take that manufacturing capability and just move that over to their own RXM line. That's probably exactly what's going to happen there. And then same thing with the low receivers and other manufacturing. And whatever Anderson has developed, the Frontline series, that's just going to become a new Ruger lineup, right? That's the guess.
Do you think Ruger will do any selling of parts like Anderson had, or you think it's all just going to be for their own supply for their own guns?
It's possible, but as of right now, they're probably, the reason why they did this buyout, I imagine, is because they had a lot of cash floating around and they needed manufacturing capability.
Yeah, from what I gather, they don't manufacture their own receivers in-house. Not all of them, anyway.
Okay, gotcha.
That's so. I imagine that's going to drastically improve their overall production capabilities to absorb such a powerhouse like Anderson. Everybody makes fun of them, but they make a lot of stuff for a lot of people.
There's one of the few companies that actually makes things, and that's very important. So here's their statement they put up. For nearly 70 years, Anderson Manufacturing proudly operated as a family-owned, Kentucky-based company built on excellence, integrity, and a deep commitment to our values, especially the protection of Second Amendment rights. Over time, we became a trusted manufacturer of 100% American-made firearms, parts, and accessories. We consistently upheld ISO 9001 standards and built a reputation for delivering quality products at a fair price. That's a fair statement. After careful consideration, we made the difficult decision to sell the company and close this chapter of our story. With the sale now complete, the Anderson brand has been discontinued and Anderson products will no longer be offered. As a result, warranty services on Anderson firearms, parts, and accessories are no longer available. So people asking about Anderson warranty, does not exist. Anderson does not exist. Ruger bought them for their manufacturing capability. They are not dealing with any of the warranty claims. Anderson is as is. For any future support, we encourage you to contact your local Anderson dealer, even though they're not good. That's like there's no such thing as an Anderson dealer anymore. Your support and loyalty meant everything to us. It was truly an honor to serve you. Thank you, the Anderson manufacturing team.
Yeah, as I just said a couple of minutes ago, I contacted my local Anderson dealer, and they weren't even aware that Anderson is sold.
What's you talking about? What's that, Sonny?
No,
he's like, yeah, they're gone.
Yeah, he was not happy. I showed him on my phone, and then he had to pull out his own phone to search for himself to double check.
Rest in piss, Anderson.
Dude, some people were. Mad Mel absolutely hates Anderson. This was his fixed version. Come, Anderson, join us. Barrow, Delton, KUSA, and Sky Firearms. Terrible. Terrible fate. Be locked with them for all of eternity. All right. Well, I think we're going to actually move on to the T-Rex arm situation because I put them. This situation goes hard. It's crazy. We must discuss the T-Rex arm situation or whatever clickbait title you want to throw in there. But what happened recently, we've been covering it basically since inception. We've had Lucas on a couple times. We had Brandon Wombat of T-Rex Arms on. So we've heard both sides. T-Rex Arms has put out multiple videos. Lucas put out his video. We've gone through the entire gambit. But the Lucas and the T-Rex, their stories don't exactly match up in a couple of key places. Now, what happened here is this fine gentleman, who I'm going to link his channel in the chat for everyone because you should go over there, check it out, and subscribe, is the Felix podcast. He managed to get a couple former employees of T-Rex Arms on to discuss company culture, behaviors, certain incidents, or whatnot. Now, the entire video is 55 minutes long. No shade to Felix, but the interview style is not fantastic, and he does interrupt quite a bit. So I managed to cut it down to the most important 7 minutes or so that has all the most interesting details about company culture and a couple incidents that pertain to what happened with Lucas and some other things. So about 7 minutes is much more manageable. Any thoughts before we just dive right into this, gentlemen?
I mean, it'll be cool to see an interesting, like a different perspective, what the boots on the ground perspective was, if the employees were exposed to anything that was going on, what the hearsay was. Because I mean, that's where a lot of like what's the actual culture in an organization is, from the dudes who are just doing the work in there every day, who don't have really a stake in like the big picture of it.
Yeah, I mean, their perspective is going to be very different than what we've heard so far.
Yeah, okay. I agree with Bones. I think it's going to be interesting to see what they had to say specifically. But as far as them not being exposed to certain things, I think that's an interesting choice of wording.
Well, and this is now the third David has hit the T-Rex arm. So we're going to talk about this David, who talks about the other David, who might talk about the other David. So there's lots of Davids in this situation. So just keep that in mind. But before we get into that, Coppertone 32 says, "Ma Kiga." Do you guys know Noah Kaniga? He is a new D1 college football player, and his name is Knigga, I want to say. So it's Kaniga.
How's it pronounced again?
Kaniga. It is pronounced Kaniga. So they did the run out ceremony for him, and they were like, just like very funny. Yeah, I actually need to get that clip. So yes, his name is Noah Kaniga. And he's a real person. He has real feelings. So don't make fun of his name just because it might sound like something else. But that's kind of what that reminded me of.
Have you? Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. Joshua 5 says, if this comment gets 5 likes, Spaz will get removed from the stream. Spaz isn't here tonight, so you can't even remove him, even if that got 1,000 likes. But thank you, Joshua.
That means he's already succeeded.
Well, that's true, actually.
5 likes not needed.
He's gone. What else were we about to say, Bones, before I so rudely cut you off?
Oh, on the dude's name, though, I've met 2 people in the military with last names of Zuniga.
Very interesting.
And
what is the origin for Zuniga?
I'll have to ask one of them. I don't want to dox the dude, so I can't. I'm not gonna say his first name, but I was gonna be like his first names, but I
First
don't
name
know.
at this and this address where he
Uh,
sleeps on this side of the house.
Yeah,
They used
I
to
really
name you
don't
after
know.
your occupation, so
Ooh, no.
That's wild. You know what? Get him out of here. Get him
Damn,
outta
comes
here.
back to drop that bomb.
That's
Todd and
amazing.
Dogs for 2 says most Jews aren't Semitic and most Semites aren't Jews. Yeah, it's like how many Jews really speak Aramaic, right? Thank you, Todd Dogs, for the $2. The Range gifted another 5 Focus Trip members. So if you got a free membership from Mr. Range, please say thank you because that's very generous of him. I don't know how much that is worth because I forget how much the memberships are, but that's
$5, I
certainly
think.
something. I think is it $5 each.
I think
So
it's
that's
$5 each.
that is quite a bit. He is dropping it on the chat and making it green. So yeah, say thank you to the Range and we appreciate it, sir. Thank you very much. Last one before we get into this. Absolute Moon Man for 5 says, consider this my bid to have the guy exercising do Kegel exercises. Don't tempt him. He'll do all sorts of crazy stuff with that camera, and you will not be able to unsee any of it, Mr. Moon Man. There he goes. He can hear you.
Now.
Yeah, here it goes. You did it. Unbelievable. Thank you, Absolute Moon Man, for the 5 and for the audio visual. Nope. Stop
sorry.
it. Stop it. All right. Well, we'll start from the 0 minute mark. He can hang out down there. He'll be fine.
They would single us out and have meetings. There was just one time.
Oh, also to be clear, the 2 gentlemen on the right are the former employees, and Jade is the interviewer. So Jade is the guy who owns Felix. Yeah, so he runs the company, or not the company, the channel Felix. They only has 80 subs, so you guys should go click on it and subscribe. Hit the like button while you're over there on this interview. There will probably even be a part 2, so if interested, go ahead and check that out. But again, this is the more important 7-minute section that I thought was actually relevant to what we're talking about.
They would single us out and have meetings. There was just one time where I was called into the HR office for stealing pretzels that were in a free bin. So we used to have a snack bin that was labeled free, and we would all take snacks and go to our workstations and eat them. One day I took a bag of pretzels and shared them with all of my team. And I was called in.
I'm sorry. I don't know why this has hit me so hard. I'm just like, anyway, it's just like
perspective when David's done telling you.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, go ahead, David. Okay, go ahead, David. Continue, and then we'll go ahead and Will can top you off there.
Some of the phrasing that Jade throws out during the interview. Yeah, we'll top you right off once you're done there, sir. That's like, okay.
Awesome.
All right.
So I was called in at 7:00 in the morning. This was weeks after this incident happened, where I was called in and they showed me camera footage of me walking in that morning and taking some snacks and going to my workstation. And they're like, it was Colonel Bowers like, so do you see anything wrong? And I was like, no. Could you elaborate? Like I was still.
So essentially, it's might be a little bit difficult for some people to follow, but there is a free snack area, and he takes some of the snacks in the morning, and then he goes and takes them to the rest of his team because at that point he'll get into it, but he's on one of the boards for one of the things, right? And the colonel, and this is kind of the company culture, takes him in to give him a verbal warning about taking free snacks. Allegedly, again, this is just his story, but I have worked at companies where they are that much of an asshole where even if you do the right thing but you don't do it in like the right way, or they just suspect you of doing something else, like they treat you like garbage for doing something that is objectively fine. What the heck is he doing? Unbelievable.
No, yeah, I mean, there's a free snack table at my work where people kind of take turns bringing in pastries. If you set anything on that table, it disappears in about 12 minutes.
Yeah, no, it's like when I was an Amazon driver,
normal.
we had a table of snacks, and they was specifically for us. You just took literally whatever you wanted, and then went about the rest of your day. So it seems strange, and to then be accused of stealing because they have you on camera taking snacks from a free snack table seems strange. So we'll let him finish up the story.
You took my Halloween candy out of my bucket.
Yeah. It's just for show.
Waking up at this point, I was like, what? And they're like, do you see anything suspicious that you did? And I was like,
Jeez.
No, sir. I got some pretzels. And they're like, well, the way you got the pretzels in
How dare
your
you?
pocket,
Golly.
it looked very suspicious. Have you stolen from our company before?
Oh my gosh.
No. I'm
What
like, if
the
you would roll the camera footage for a little longer.
Yeah, so apparently he took them, which is fine, but he took them suspiciously, so that made them think, "Hey, have you stolen from us before?" Which
What?
it just seems odd. If we're taking this story at face value, it just seems odd, like not a particularly friendly place to work. And we'll get into some of the other things that make it less than friendly.
Well, what was he
Oh.
wearing?
He doesn't look suspicious to me right now.
I was gonna say, what
Keep in
does
mind, these are members of, they attended the same church because they were hired on when everybody was a church member that worked at T-Rex Arms, and they talk about how it was kind of culty and some of the other things that they wanted from people that they hired and stuff like that. So you should go watch the full video for all of the possible context.
Yeah.
You could see that I shared them with my team. It was wild. I was just left that meeting confused. It was a verbal warning from HR after that, and after that I had my guard up. I'm like, why are they watching me?
Without getting into like super big detail of like the people or the victims' names or whatever, because I know a lot of different things that have supposedly happened there, but I want to kind of hear from you guys that have actually worked there, that you can confirm, like, okay, I knew this person, or I saw this, or you knew that it was fact of things that were happening there, because I want people watching to really understand some of the things that actually are true, or some of the things that are just really just lies being spread around. So David, you go ahead.
Okay.
Will, if he brings back some memories, you can elaborate. Yeah, go ahead, David.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go like in timeline.
Yes.
So when I started in 2018, we had an employee that was our first employee that was ever fired. He was fired for looking at pornographic images on his phone, but not on company time. He was staying with
Really?
some of the people's family,
Right,
and
I
they caught
remember
him
this.
looking at pornographic images on their Wi-Fi, not at work at all, and he was terminated because of that, which is wild. And
So if that's true, that just shows that people have been caught doing the thing that they all admit were sent to Lucas's wife, and they terminated this employee back in 2018 for looking at pornographic images at somebody else's house away from work.
You could send furry porn to the boss's wife and not get fired, but if you watch porn in somebody else's house, off the clock. Seems a little bit unequal here.
It's also
So-
like, it's also very open-ended, like looking at pornographic images, right? Okay, did his significant other send him something, and then he opened it and was like, ha, nice, and they're like, you out of our company right now, it's like there's no context, and it doesn't look good really, regardless of how you
Well, so
play it.
they talk about other people who were essentially let go or kicked out for not having their values align perfectly. Like, I think he's just about to get into another example of that happening to somebody. So keep in mind, if even if it was something like a significant other or whatever it happened to be, right? Totally willing to fire somebody just for the appearance of impropriety, right? And
Yeah.
then in this other, fast forward a few years, and suddenly they're like, "Oh, this isn't such a big deal." Keep in mind that the employee that did it was the son of an executive, right?
Could I make a comment about the stealing bit
Yeah, go for it.
that was earlier? So when he said, like, brought into that office and stuff, I'll play devil's advocate a little and say that it could have been a tactic that they had other like they had suspicion of him already for stealing, and that was their method to try to get him to admit to it. Doesn't mean what they did was right, and that's definitely a kind of shitty way to have gone about it, in my opinion, and not really a very professional way. Of
No, I
course, just going off of his story, I don't know the guy at all. I'm not claiming that he was. It just kind of sounds like that they maybe suspected him for some reason. They're like, oh, we'll think he'll crumple, under my colonel Marine rank, so I'll just bring him in and ask him. And that didn't happen, and isn't really the best way to handle that situation if that's what the company was trying to do. Thoughts? Just kind of the vibe I got.
I just want to know what it looks like to suspiciously steal pretzels.
I think it was made up. I think that was like the made up, like, we just want to get this guy in the office. We think he'll admit, like, we're just going to get him in for some bullshit reason and hopefully scare him into admitting that he's been stealing, which clearly he didn't do, which is good.
If that's the case, they could have come up with any other example other than the
I
free
agree.
table.
I agree. It's
You
very
took the
silly.
free pretzels straight to hell.
It's super weird. I was just trying to
Now-
like steel man devil's advocate as much as I could. That's what it sort of would sound like to me. I still think it's ridiculous.
I'm curious as
Well,
to
no. Here's the thing:
how-
both these employees could be bad employees, right?
Mhm.
100%.
Yeah,
So
so
we do
that's why
not
I'm
have to
trying to
take
keep
these
an open
people.
mind.
Yeah, we do not have to take these people at face value, right? But this is just two other inputs that did work there, that still have people that work there that they know that seem to support one side more than the other. So
one question: what?
go for it.
How is it that they know that another employee that then got fired was looking at adult images on somebody else's Wi-Fi? Did they say that
Well,
they
because
got?
he was at somebody else's house. They were at somebody else's house that also worked with the company, got caught looking at pornographic images away from company, not on company time, on personal time, got fired because of it, right?
Also, it could have just been because I know this is a thing. You could monitor what websites people go to on
Possibly
your-
true.
your
Yeah. Yeah.
on
That's
your
what I was
router.
wondering.
And
Mhm.
if those people are super religious and they're looking through their kids' stuff, and then a different IP accesses porn or like a pornographic website, that also could be just another way that could have unfolded.
That's what I was
100%.
wondering specifically.
On company time, he was staying with
Really?
some of the people's family,
Right,
and
I
they
remember
caught him
this.
looking at pornographic images on their Wi-Fi, not at work at all, and he was terminated because of that, which is wild
Wow.
and against, of course, most companies' policies. Like, that's personal time. That was the first one.
Okay.
They also fired another one of my close friends who did not believe the same way they did, and he was
Mm.
going down a different path, and they didn't like the way he was
Mhm.
going, and he was terminated for some bogus reasons.
Yep.
It's something about them leaking the company's whereabouts on Google Maps and
Okay.
posting it to a Reddit page. And he was fired because of that. And we had to go under lockdown because we thought we were going to be invaded by outside forces that didn't agree with.
Yeah, so Ivan I says I
Well-
kicked somebody out for looking at porn too. That's totally fine if that's your standard, but what the only argument that I'm making is that allegedly the standard was not applied equally, right? That's it. If you want to make that argument that hey, this is a lack of character that we don't want to have here at T-Rex Arms, like if you're watching porn on somebody else's Wi-Fi while you're at their house for some reason, weird stuff, right? So if the company wants to fire him for that, I think that's actually fine to do that, but it just was not applied equally when the furry porn stuff got sent to Lucas's wife, right? It just was not equal. So that's the problem. Also, this is where David has a little bit of, I guess, a grudge against T-Rex Arms. So you might not want to fully believe him, is because he talks about one of his close friends getting fired for something BS, for having different values or whatnot, and then allegedly leaking the company address on Reddit, which I believe that was a real event that happened, that the company address did actually get leaked on Reddit. Or I know the range location got leaked by who's that retard? Tony Cowden. That guy, he leaked their range address because he got mad at Lucas one day. That was funny.
Super mature.
Yeah. So what David, the guy in the middle here, is saying, he might have a slight grudge against T-Rex Arms for firing one of his buddies for something that he feels is BS, or may not have happened. We don't really know. Which is again why you don't need to take any of these people at face value.
The way we were. That was
Right.
another instance. There's multiple. If Bill wants to go ahead.
I'm going to go ahead and start with you, David, this time. What were, if any, your interactions with CEOs or people on the leadership board, your interactions with them? What was kind of that like? Was there anything that was really out of the ordinary to you that was just like, this is really contradicting yourself, or this is really just not treating me right? Or was it overall just a good experience? So anything with the leadership, of people kind of on the current board that you've had interactions with, or people in lower standard, if not. But go ahead, David.
Yes. So in 2021, I was promoted to team lead of a department in production, and I was actually on the hiring board of T-Rex Arms. So we all had a vote on this hiring board when they would interview someone. If we had enough votes, we could vote.
Now, if this section is true, something I do want to add here really fast is that if the guys at T-Rex Arms actually liked David enough to put him on the hiring board, like even if he had complaints about leadership and the way that they did things, like it's obvious that he was doing his job well enough to get promoted to a board position, right? But this is going to tie in very closely with alleged board meetings about Kara happening or not.
someone in to be hired or if we didn't like them. But then again, some people had more votes. It was almost like Congress. They had more. One vote would be we could be overruled basically.
Okay.
So we were told in these hiring meetings that this is a direct quote from Colonel Dahl. They wanted to hire people that were sheep and they were like moldable clay.
Wait, he said
So
that?
they could, yes, a direct quote. Sheep and moldable clay, so they could basically, shape them in the way that they wanted them, their vision, their ideology to be at T-Rex. They wanted basically weak-minded people that they can control and form.
I didn't know that. I didn't know he said that.
Now, this is one thing that I do hate about corporate structures is it is actually a lot of the times for very simple jobs more beneficial to hire people who are essentially cogs in a machine that just show up and do their job than to have a bunch of like aggressive, independent, free thinkers who are going to push back on everything. Sometimes that's not helpful. It's like we have some people in the panel that have been in the military, and essentially it's shut up and do your job. And then there's very few people. There's the proper way to push back, right? So this is the thing about when you become a bigger company. At some point, it is more efficient just to hire people that are easier to manipulate and won't ask for raises as aggressively, will do a good job, will not be particularly expensive, so on and so forth. So, which is one of the reasons why I never want to become a large company and have to deal with stuff like this. I feel it's very difficult to maintain your Christian morals and deal with large amounts of money and people. I feel like it just becomes exponentially more difficult to do.
Yeah, and only to play devil's advocate for just a second, I do want to say that it's harder to train out bad habits that have already been formed in existing older employees versus training people to start from scratch. But to call them sheep and moldable clay, they're looking for a very specific type of individual.
Its phrasing is not great. Go ahead, John. I don't want to cut you off.
No, you're good. I totally agree. If the guy on the hiring board is like, okay, so what type of person are we trying to hire? And they're like, well, people who just follow orders and nothing else. And to keep in mind, this is Mark Dole. This is the lazy colonel gentleman.
Sleepy Colonel.
Who's Sleepy Colonel, the ghoul, some might call him, but yeah.
Direct quote. Sheep and moldable clay, so they could basically, shape them in the way that they wanted them.
This is not Garand Thumbs Ram Ranch, Mr. J. This is T-Rex Arms. Very not submissive and breedable. That's not correct.
Their vision, their ideology to be at T-Rex. They wanted basically weak-minded people that they can control and form.
I didn't know that. I didn't know he said that.
Also, while I was on this board, I was on the board in the timeline that Kara was supposedly put in her resume, and that was never brought up. It never got to the board. It must have been behind closed doors where they made the decision to not hire her. But it was
so there were different people where they would set up different boards and different groups of people to do certain tasks, and then basically HR or the board would be making kind of orders outside of that, kind of to giving certain people benefits and other people not benefits.
Exactly. I remember one instance our production manager at the time didn't want us to hire a certain guy because he had too many tattoos and he didn't like his vibes. He thought he was rebellious and that he couldn't train him because he had a lot of tattoos, which is wild and very unethical.
Yeah.
Judging a book by its cover.
Right.
Yeah. It was.
So David, elaborate on
So the one part that was really important there is the Kara part, because originally, right, she was supposedly they had multiple board meetings about hiring her or not, and then this gentleman is on the hiring board, and that just never happened, allegedly, which is interesting to say the least. No. And yeah, we don't. David could be just way off on everything, but I mean, he was allegedly part of the hiring board and in a semi-leadership position, I suppose, because he was also a team lead for his department on the hiring board. So he wasn't a nobody at the company, but he wasn't like an executive. So it's just interesting that his side of the story or his tale of events semi-lines up with Lucas.
The thing about Kara, because in T-Rex's latest video, they were covering that because Lucas had talked about how they wouldn't hire his wife because they didn't like her. But Colonel Dahl came to the defense of that and said that it was because he looked at her resume, they considered her, but there really was no place for her in the company at the time. And so they just couldn't hire her. That was the story, right? But you were on the board of hiring, whatever you call the department, and you never saw anything about that, which means that it was not handled like a true resume. They didn't want to hire her. I mean,
wow.
So what Lucas said was 100% true. And
100%.
Wow.
I mean, David, you and I were both going to the church when Kara first started coming around.
Mhm.
I remember, including myself, because I was one of these sheep, we were all looking at Kara and she had like purple hair or something. We all judged her so hard.
Wow.
She was so sweet. She was so friendly. But
Such a good person.
And I won't say everybody. It's not like she came into a den of lions or something and everybody just hated her. Right?
No.
Everybody was, people were sweet to her, but you could tell that everybody was judging her. And all of us guys, all of us kids, we were hardcore judging her. And I mean, I would hear things from Lucas's family and people who were close to his family, just older people in the church. I would overhear discussions about her, and people didn't want her around. They didn't like her vibe. They didn't think she was a good enough Christian for him. They didn't think she was of high caliber. So
wow.
Another wow way to end it. Yeah. So I mean, that just, again, the reason I just left that clip in there is because it appears to follow the same trajectory as Lucas's story, where Kara was seen as an outsider, where they didn't really approve of this girl that Lucas decides to marry. They don't want her involved in the business whatsoever, so they treat her different, which, again, when this is the owner's wife and then she gets sent furry porn, and then you don't deal with that employee the same way that you dealt with other employees in the past that have done the exact same thing. It's just, can be a little rough to handle as somebody who started the company. And then you add in all the other stuff in there, and it just doesn't look good. Wow.
Seems like a not very fun work environment to be in.
It seems now. I mean, like, if you're gonna build yourself on uber Christian values and whatnot, that's your prerogative. Regardless, it just seems very judgmental. I guess just very quick to judge. Very close knit, which is fine. You want to protect your company, you want to protect your people, and you don't want to hire, dickheads, I guess. But at the same time, it just feels very like, holier than thou, very judgmental. My 2 cents, at least.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's pretty obvious that they viewed her as an outsider and therefore a threat, because for a long time, they only hired people who were family or from the church that their dad is the leader of. So, yeah. And it wasn't until they started hiring. And again, if you listen to the entire interview, they go through more of it because it is 55 minutes long. There'll probably be a part 2. So once again, go ahead and check out Felix. Let me see how many people have gone over there and actually subscribed to him. Okay. We are at 87. I want him to get up to 100. So if you could please click the link pinned in chat and go subscribe to this gentleman for giving us a 55-minute interview. Yeah, please do that. Appreciate that. All right. Any final thoughts there before we wrap up, gentlemen, and move on to Streamlight taking on Harbor Freight? Battle of the Budget Blasters.
I'll say that I am cautious to listen to what these guys have to say, because I don't know what what their goal is with sharing this information. But a lot of it I can relate to, especially with that Colonel dude being very overbearing. I worked for a security company, won't get into the name or anything, but they were very similar, wanted just very uninterested people to work there, that type of thing. And I remember I came in to do some paperwork, not even to do an interview or anything. Like, I was already hired. The guy came out to talk to the new hires, who I was standing with because it was one area. And he tried to give this like really intimidating, like tough guy speech to these new hires, and looked to me and he's like, you're in the military, right? What happens when you're late? And I was like, okay, dude, like, really, you want the real answer to this? He's like, yeah. And I was like, people die. I'm like, that's what I'm told, is people die when I'm late. And he's like, oh, well, then, that doesn't really happen here, but it's important that you're punctual. And I'm like, what a fucking weirdo, dude. Jesus.
Well, then you won't die, but
yeah, yeah, it was just very like, it just that when he was talking about the Colonel dude, I got very similar vibes, where you've got this older gentleman, prior service, but been out for a decent amount of time, who's now trying to flex on everybody else. And it's just not like a very professional, very odd thing to do, to have that mindset. So that's my closing thoughts. Go ahead.
I'm cautious of everybody who's come out in this situation. and we'll never get enough information, but I'm just trying to judge what is and isn't true based on my own gut feeling.
Mhm.
Also,
I
focus.
am
Yeah.
just along for the ride. You know what I'm saying? Ocean's pretzel. That's good. I'm planning a heist, guys. It's gonna be really, really high stakes here.
Yep.
What's Biden in it?
Yeah, apparently.
That's awesome.
Art Vandalay for 199. Speaking of pretzels, say these pretzels are making me thirsty. Wow. All right, Art Vandalay. Battle Rifles for $2 says Focus is a character, but lacks character. Wake up. That's right. Wake up, you sheeple. Focus lacks character. Well, hey, Battle Rifle, thank you for the $2. If you're still in
Nice
the chat,
FAL.
let's do the character flex off, and why don't you come on stream and talk it out with me? How about that?
Let's do it.
Or would you rather hide behind your keyboard and display a lack of character? Yikes. All right, moving on from there. Zephon for 2 says, you can top me off, John. All right. The things I read for $2. Thank you very much, Zephon. And Jake says, Jade reminds me of a lot of people in voice chat. Also, good morning. Good morning, Jake. I hope you're having a good day today, sir. Yeah, there's a lot of people. Voice chat gets a little wild sometimes. You get 20 people in there, 20 retards talking at the same time. You know,
About
it's like
batteries.
the stream
We love
just
talking about
times
batteries.
5.
Shut up. Dude, I'm so sad that I caused that whole scenario. I feel bad.
Well, we're going to talk about Streamline in just a minute, so we're going to have that back.
No.
We're going to talk about it again. Absolute Moonman for 2 says, remember chat, no gooning. That's right. Yeah, don't goon at your friend's house on their Wi-Fi when their family's there, apparently, or something like that. That just don't do that. Very, very strange. Speaking of gooning, though, Focus Trip's wife for 199 says, I love that Bones' authoritative voice is Asian. Were you putting on an Asian Asian
wasn't
voice?
trying to.
Apparently, my wife.
You should from now on, though.
Okay, you got anytime I'm being authoritarian, it'll be Asian.
Perfect. Thank you, Focus Trip's wife. Art Vandalay 499 says, this whole saga made me realize TRX Arms is equipping serious citizens while simultaneously being the most unserious company. Yeah, it is funny to look at their social media presence, especially when it's like super serious and hardcore and, you know, like Lucas's takes and whatnot. And then behind the scenes, they don't really know what to do. And they're like a medium-sized company, but they're not run by people who run medium-sized companies, so it's kind of a bit of a mess because it's half family, half outsiders, and the ownership structure has been weird from the beginning. So yeah, but they did manage to put out good products. I will say that. So thank you for the $4.99 Art Vandalay. Absolute Moonman for 5 says, if you have a Reddit account, you should be fired anyways, ideally out of a cannon. True. I am permanently banned from Reddit as a badge of honor. I need to print that out and put it on my wall, actually.
That's awesome.
Permanent banning from Reddit. Thank you, Absolute Moonman. Loops the Cat for 2 says, multiple clay like a golem. Who summons golems? Real question from Loops the Cat. Thank you for the $2, good sir. D Knight for 5 says, hey, let me open Safari on my phone. Oops, forgot to close my porn. Fired. Well, yeah, you probably just shouldn't be watching that in the first place, especially if you're working at a Christian company, right? It goes against the values that you're espousing.
Outside of that, don't melt your brain.
Yeah,
probably shouldn't be doing that in the first place anyway.
Yeah, but also checking on the homies because people need help. Focus Trip's wife for 199 says, no shirt, no shoes, tattoos, no service. That's right. You know what? Now that I think about that, Trench Grenade was talking about getting out of the military and what he's going to do afterwards. He's never going to be able to get hired. He has more bad tattoos per square inch than anyone I know.
In for life now.
He could always take the Ronnie Radke approach. Just go complete blackout.
Please no. GL Dude 14 member for 13 months says, I find your lack of character disturbing. Now, you know who doesn't lack character? Lucas Botkin. There you go. Thank you, GL Dude. Member for 14 months, while Dr. Fuzzy One can't figure it out for 1 month, says, how does one become a member? I may be restarted. I think there's a dollar button on the bottom. I think. Is that how it works for you guys?
You push a button.
No, there is actually a join button next to the subscribe button. There's a physical join button. If you click that button, that will take you to the members area.
Well, Hustle Bones is a retarded faggot because he says still waiting for one thing T-Rex did wrong. They admit that they did several things wrong. So unless you believe that they're lying to you when they say that they did things wrong, but he's been on the T-Rex arm's dick since the beginning, which I find quite funny that he accuses other people of dick riding when he hasn't yet taken it out of his mouth.
I'm
Ladies
just
and
wondering.
gentlemen,
I'm just
T-Rex
wondering how
arms
much he
greatest
spent.
defender.
How much did he
Yeah.
spend on T-Rex arms? What's the total dollar amount of T-Rex arms goods that you have, sir?
Something. Anyways, but they're liars because they haven't done anything wrong except when they admit they did something wrong. Coyote 6 for 199 says $0 tax stamps before GTA 6. We have an update on that. So we'll talk about that in just a minute. But yeah, we're going to get everything before GTA 6. Andy Cody for 2 says, do not come. I'm going to come. Thank you, Andy Cody for 2. 6 Hour for 49 says, Lost Arrow check-in with the David Newer haircut. No,
yeah.
Lost's haircut's better than that. Lost, pick up the phone. Your haircut's better
He's
than that.
been
He doesn't
summoned.
have. Look at that. No, he still got it. He got a fuller head of hair. He's doing good. SV89, I see your super chat, but we're going to save that for just a minute. Let's see here. So the meme speaks for itself. Harbor Freight copies Streamlight's design. Streamlight sues Harbor Freight. Harbor Freight? What? Why would you do that? Well, it's because your light, the Brawn, which this is from Chris from the 740. This video has 314,000 views because people were dying apparently for a TLR1 clone, and it is exactly that. It is identical to a Brawn to a TLR1 flashlight. It fits in the same holsters, does all the same things. 1,000 lumen output, roughly 10K candela. It's the same thing, but I think they're $60, $60-ish, something like
what's
that.
the Streamlight MSRP?
They're like 150, but you can find them for
It's like half price.
120. So in terms of dollar amounts, it's not that big of a difference. Like you can occasionally find the TLR ones on sale for $100 or so.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
you know,
Doesn't
it's a
make
little
it fun?
cheaper. Well, I
Yeah,
was just gonna say that
half-ish.
I have 2 LAPG WXL slide rail mounts. They're not identical, but they do have the same shape so that they fit in TLR1 holsters. I have 2 of them, and I've used them for almost a decade now. And so I have 2 TLR1 clones, but LAPG never got sold or sued because the design is different. Whereas, as you can tell, on the left we have the Brawn, on the right we have the TLR1 HL.
Yeah.
Aside from some engraving differences, they are basically identical. And
Corporate
so they
wants you to find the
have,
difference between each picture. They're the same picture.
yeah, but in that case, they are actually the same picture.
Yeah.
Harbor Freight Tools was hit with a trademark and patent infringement lawsuit on June 26 in Delaware court over the allegations it copied Streamlight's ring mark design for gun-mounted lights. The complaint filed by Connolly Gallagher claims Harbor Freight willfully infringed Streamlight's
Okay.
trademark and
You gotta let
patent.
me know when you're coming down the stairs.
Okay. We got you, Dank.
You're good, Dink. The suit seeks injunctive relief, damages, profits, and attorney's fees, alleging the defendant's actions have caused consumer confusion and violated multiple state and federal laws. So, injunctive relief, stop selling it. Damages, how much have you sold? And we're going to charge you per light sold, which is going to be a lot. Profits, self-explanatory, and attorney's fees. So, this is a big lawsuit. We're talking millions of dollars for this.
Wow.
So then again, this is on Reddit, so beware of cringe. But the top comment, hardly surprising. It was pretty obviously a blatant TLR1 knockoff with worse internals. And by knockoff, I mean like the
Identical.
exact same thing. It's the carbon copy. It is the exact same thing, which is the reason you would buy one, because it fits in all your holsters. Actually, if you give me a minute, I can't show it on stream, but I can take off my LAPG WXL. But I can't show it on stream because it's currently attached to a Glock. So just give me a minute. All right. All right. Thoughts on that so far while I struggle to take this off?
If they didn't exactly everything copy it, they would have probably gotten away with it. But They copied everything except for the text on the side.
Yeah, it's
The
silly.
form is the same.
It's definitely silly, but it also goes to show potentially how much Streamlight's overcharging if it's pretty much identical, or not overcharging, but the profit they're making. It's interesting though.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting because Streamlight is the cheaper light, right? Because it's made
Yeah.
in China or overseas for the most part. So it's already the budget version of the Surefire, which goes for what, like $250, $300. And then so people knocking that off is even crazier. So here is the WXL, which does not have the exact same. You can tell that it has like heat fins on the bottom. It doesn't have the same ring on the head. It has slightly different controls. It has a couple different blocks on the side. So it is not one-to-one copy. This is like 95% there, whereas the Braun again is basically a 100% clone. So that's probably the reason why LAPG has not gotten a lawsuit, whereas Braun has, or whereas Harbor Freight has, just because the similarity is too close, and they will almost certainly win and get paid millions of dollars from it.
Yeah, I wonder how many of those Harbor Freight sold.
Well, I have
lot.
gotten a lot of requests
Yeah.
to take a look at it. And
I
there's real
know-
interest in it. So this 14,000 subscriber channel, which is Chris from the 740, I've talked to this gentleman, 320,000 views 2 weeks ago. It's, for some reason, people were waiting for a TLR1 knockoff. And again,
all the poor
the
people.
LAPG one has already existed for almost a decade at this point.
I
So-
know 3 people who immediately went out to Harbor Freight and bought one in person because they were so excited.
Well, and to be clear too, Harbor Freight already has a big market share. So people are already buying stuff at Harbor Freight, sorry. So people are like, "Oh, hey, I can just go get my weapon light from them as well." Interesting enough. And I imagine the performance is basically the same as a TLR1 HL because that's the same thing that's on the LAPG currently. So
Not everything from Harbor Freight is bad. I am a firm believer in some of their stuff. Like, they have a $29 drill there that I used, and I was doing the exact same thing with the $29 drill as I was a $200 18-volt DeWalt, and I smoked the DeWalt. That little $29 drill just kept going.
Yep, it's good for tools that you don't necessarily need to last forever, or if you're getting sockets that you're going to cannibalize to make different tools.
right.
It's good for that.
Yeah. Or if it's like a one-off project where you're never going to use the thing again and you just need something specialty really quick, like you can just get that from Harbor Freight. A weapon light, I mean, it's nice that it has holster compatibility. So I guess if you are going to arm multiple handguns and you just wanted something that would fit the same holster, it would work for that. Like my competition gun has a light on it, not because I need the light for weight or anything like that, but because it makes it fit the holster that I have. That's it. That's the only reason I have a light on it.
Yeah, I can see wanting to buy a $60 light versus an $80 or $90 holster.
Well, yeah, and it's especially some of the more open top holsters where the light is the major factor of will it fit or not. And so rather than having to buy a holster for every single gun that I have, it's like, we'll just throw a TLR1 on it and then it fits this holster. So, but that's kind of a meme purpose for YouTube review crap, not actually using it all the time.
YouTuber moment.
Yeah, straight up. Speaking of YouTubers, SV89 for $2 says, I have like 12 washed cars and I have a good job. Yeah, that's the benefit of working from remote, or depending on what industry you're in. Thank you, SV89, for the 2. Call sign houseplant for 2 says, Hustle soaks his pretzels before eating them. It's probably the only way that his soft, sensitive teeth can get them down. Thank you, call sign houseplant, for the 2.
Oh, I thought that was a soaking joke.
It might be. Everyday American for $5 says, when the poor still can't afford a Streamlight, I hate this quote unquote community sometimes. I guess, because it's not a particularly expensive product, although it's the same with everything. There's always that 30-40% off product, whether it's a Glock clone, a Streamlight clone, a Surefire clone, a laser unit. You could argue Anderson was a 30% off knockoff of BCM, a 40% knockoff of BCM, whatever it might be, right? So people are always going to try to get down to the lowest dollar amount possible for similar performance, right? And people are going to play that game all day long until it bites them in the butt one too many times, and then they just buy something nice. I think that's most people's pipeline. They
Yep.
play around with really, really cheap stuff for a long enough period of time, and then eventually stuff starts breaking, or they just get burned one too many times, and they're like, okay, I'm just going to buy the real thing and forget about it.
Yep.
So.
I got a buddy who's not super into shooting, but he wanted to get gun stuff for COVID, and he went out and bought a 22, and then he went into the store and said, "What's the second cheapest optic you got that I could put on this?" And that's how a lot of people function.
Yeah, I mean, people walk into a gun store and they look whatever's cheapest, and that's what they do, you know. And that's price is their major concern, not performance, price.
I do think that it being physically in store available when people are going in to buy other things made a decent difference, right?
Well, that's also true. Is if you can just walk into your local Harbor Freight and pick something up for $60 rather than ordering it online, it's a huge benefit.
Well, a lot of the people who are buying these are, I'm going to guess, boomers, right? And they are not as comfortable with ordering something like that offline. That what if it doesn't fit or this or that? But to physically have the product in their hand before they can purchase it, and to also have the Harbor Freight, no questions asked, money back guarantee, blah blah blah, all of that. That's a powerful incentive. So I can see why they sold.
Yeah, Blackhawk only exists because it's actually in store and cheap. that's literally it.
They're in Walmart.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They people see them, and so they're like, "Oh, that's that one holster that fits my gun. Fantastic."
I actually seen a very nice Uncle Mike's holster today. It was completely
I'm just no such thing as a nice Uncle Mike's holster. That sort of blasphemy will not be tolerated around here, good sir.
It was completely ambidextrous and could be swapped to either side, inside and out.
No,
Dude, it accepts everything though.
No,
It
we're
accepts
moving
everything.
on. A Sig Sauer for $199 says the current lost arrow view is what Trench sees. I'm pretty sure that was the kettlebell swings, which was a very advantageous angle for Mr. Arrow over there. Thank you, Sig Sauer, for the $199. Hey, Jose Vasquez, new member. I think he figured it out. Thank you very much.
Nice.
Good sir. Enjoy that. Sabardic Psycho for 5 says Hustle Bones is hustling towards the Colonel's bone. There you go. Bone, one emoji, gay flag. Damn, roast it. 6 hour for 499 says Harbor Freight, good for one-off tools. So that's where Trench came from. One-off tool, rough dog. Thank you, 6 hour for the 5. And Arrow did bring back the angle that you so desperately desired. SB89 for $2 says, I work in a corporate office for a $3 to $4 billion corporation. Damn. All right.
Got it made.
Got to keep it low key for the homies, dog. Testing 2741 for $5 says, I have 3 Harbor lights and love them. Choke on it, elitists. Well, we're not being elitists. We just think it's not, you're not saving that much money, you know. They're probably not going to be around for that much longer either.
Buy them up, Kings. They're going to be $400 once they get discontinued.
Panic buy right now. Panic buy.
Now. They're about to be true. You got to buy up the entire stock right now. They're about to be out of business forever. So.
Yep.
The guy who was standing next to me when I told the FFL owners that they went out of business, he bought one that they had in the case. He's like, really? And he got the one in the case.
Nice.
Speaking of going out of business, the ATF is going to be losing out on some tax stamps, it looks like, shortly. Even though I think that money goes to some general fund somewhere. It actually doesn't even go to the ATF or something like that, right? But Representative Andrew Clyde in the House, straight up aura farming, aura maxing over the rest of his fellow representatives, says, breaking. I just introduced an amendment to the Senate passed budget reconciliation bill to remove the NFA registration requirement for suppressors, SBRs, SBSs, and AOWs. I'm fighting till the very end to get as many 2A wins in the one big beautiful bill as possible. So, if you guys don't remember, the HPA and the Short Act were passed in the House bill. It got sent to the Senate, where they removed the removal of those items from the NFA, but they kept the $0 tax stamp. Then it had to go back to the House. And as soon as it got back to the House, Representative Andrew Clyde simply said, well, actually, I'm just amending it again to have those bills back in it so that we are going to send it back to the Senate and force them to overrule the Senate parliamentarian. So it's that meme, snip, snap, snip, snap. Do you have any idea what that does to a man?
Yeah, it's
Off
cat
again,
and
it's on
mouse with your God-given rights.
Yeah, actually, that's a bad way to put it. But or like a really toxic relationship that you had in high school, on again, off again, you never know, and just odd things always kind of get in the way. It's just terrible.
Shout out Steven.
Shout out to Andrew for putting this back in. So again, it reintroduces the same language that it had before about removing SBRs, SBSs, AOWs, suppressors from the NFA, so that if this version now passes the Senate again, because it has to pass the Senate again, if it passes the Senate and then gets signed into law, then we will only have to sign 4473 for these items, which is pretty neat. No tax stamp, no fingerprints, no registration, nothing like that. Just they'd be treated like firearms, basically, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, because suppressors are still guns.
Yeah, the convenient thing about that is you can then manufacture your own without having to deal with the tax
Correct.
stamp.
That too. Yeah. Well, so here is, in his own words, Representative Andrew Clyde. I'm fighting for the 2A wins that the American people demand and deserve. Well, thank you very much. NFA taxation and registration are inseparably linked. We can and we must eliminate both. And again, this is one of the few times where politicians use the language that I like to hear.
That's why for months I've...
Now, I apologize. This is Twitter, so this is going to assault your left ear only for some reason, but that just is what it is. So, put on Beethoven in your right ear and this guy in your left ear, and you'll reach maximum retardation or something.
led the fight to ensure that we deliver as many pro-2A wins, pro-Second Amendment wins in the budget reconciliation as possible. I successfully added a provision to the House-passed bill to eliminate the unconstitutional taxation and registration for suppressors under the draconian National Firearms Act. I then worked closely with my Senate Republicans to go a step further by eliminating both the National Firearms Act taxation and registration requirements for short-barreled firearms as well. However, the unelected Senate parliamentarian struck this provision down, erroneously claiming that it violated the Byrd Rule. I vehemently disagree with her, and I believe many of her rulings prove she's incapable of making sound, nonpartisan decisions. Let me be perfectly clear. The taxation and registration under the National Firearms Act are inseparably linked. The registration database is the method used by the government to account for the tax paid on each firearm by the serial number of the firearm. And I'd like to show you something. This is an example right here of the tax stamp itself, for any of you who want to look at it, all right? This is a tax stamp from an actual Form 4, National Firearms Act, NFA, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives, Form 4. And it says right here,
well, people in the chat are saying that his amendment actually failed. So is that a new update that I haven't heard? First House vote on the big, beautiful bill just failed. Well, all that means is that they have to vote on it again. They're just going to continue to vote on it until they get it. So they'll change amendments, do whatever they have to do to get the votes to make it happen. So even if it failed the first time, they have to pass something eventually. So it will eventually pass, whether or not this amendment makes it in or not. Right?
I heard that someone introduced legislation or language in the bill that was going to essentially make it possible for people to write off lottery and gambling money. Like, it was very, very weird. It was very weird. The rumor is that someone put that in specifically to spike the bill because they didn't want it to pass. I don't know how true that is, but I did see some of the actual language for it earlier today, and it was quite odd, to say the least.
Yeah, the vast majority of these politicians aren't fighting for you, is something you got to keep in mind all the time.
Well, the weird thing about it was I want to say it was the Nevada Gaming Commission come out and was opposed to it. So if the people who are in charge of the gambling are saying that they don't want something passed that is supposed to reduce their taxes, something is off.
Interesting. Well,
Hmm.
way to deflate that, guys. Unbelievable.
Nothing ever happens. Bring up the graph.
Rude.
Well, sorry
Man,
to
ouch.
spike that segment, but if you wanted to segue off into suppressors, I did post something for you there in the private chat if you want to take a look at it. It turns out that B&T is suing
No, I know. Yeah,
Surefire.
we're not going to take a look at that today. I haven't had enough time to look at that. I have a little bit of background information on it, but we will probably save that for something later on.
We get
Right
there
now.
when we get there.
I know what you're talking about, but we'll go ahead and we will move off of this to talk about Mr. Colin Noir. Apparently, Protrabrand has actually been watching it, and he says the drama starts at 47 minutes in.
Whew. Thank you. That saves us a
So-
lot of time, King.
Saves
Thank
us
you.
a lot of
Protrabrand.
time to get to the good stuff. Now, I've never met Colin, but I have met David. I like David, humble marksman on the right, does some really good pistol reviews, very good shooter. He's a high level shooter as well. So yeah, no problems with him, but I'm interested to see how this goes, because is the YouTube gun community becoming toxic? Yes. Yes, it is. Almost guaranteed.
Yep, chat. Are we toxic?
Well,
Bro, look at this guy. Look at his
It's
thumbnail.
I saw that
It just-
earlier.
Oh,
It just works.
Winning, playing the game, and he's winning.
Damn.
And then I'm like, I don't know. I was like, that's crazy. What the hell are those? So we go out, we're getting ready to start filming, and all this, then I start feeling it. Bite, 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 bite. And they were swarming my head.
Yeah.
And then I just had PTSD from that.
Colin does have a miraculous ability to say a immense amount of words while conveying exactly zero information.
I mean,
Well,
that's
this
what
is-
made him
it's-
that's what
it's-
made him perfect to be the NRA spokesperson.
Before we get into this, because this is probably going to take up the rest of the stream for us. Dogman Defense on Rumble for $1 says, "Here at T-Rex Arms, we're not racist. We treat everyone like they're black." There you go. I think that was a Marine Corps saying for a while. We're not racist. We treat everybody like they're black. Some black general said that or something. Vintage Welfare for $5 on Rumble says, "I don't even own any guns. If I want one, I'll take one. I don't care off of who, and they don't care, and they won't care anymore for the rest of their lives either. The local police don't come near me when I'm ticked." Wow, Vintage Welfare, very spicy on Rumble.
it's,
All right.
that's one of the
A take of
takes to
all
have.
time. Yep.
Yeah, very, very interesting. Over here on Focus Trips Wife 4 says, "Lost Arrow's camera makes me appreciate the view in the pitch black basement." True, yeah, you're lucky you're locked up down there still. Unbelievable. I don't know how you get a Wi-Fi or credit card down there, but say la vie, it could be worse. You could be in Lost Arrow's gym. Everyday American for 5 says, "You will always spend more money on buying cheap stuff multiple times rather than buying the good thing once."
Well,
I think there's some truth to that, but occasionally buying really high-end stuff also is very disappointing. So, it's like, is a $500 Glock 5 times worse or 1/5 as good as a $2,500 Staccato?
It's
No,
like a
no.
bell curve,
Yeah.
the really cheap end, it kind of sucks, and then once you get into the middle range, generally things are pretty good, and then you go back down on the really expensive end, and you start getting really diminishing returns.
As
Yeah,
with
actually,
everything,
now that you mentioned that, the most expensive handgun I own, or I have, the STI back there, is also the worst one in my possession right now. So it's more complicated than that, but I get what you mean. I know what you mean, right? It's like the meme of buying like 3 Bear Creek Arsenals until you get a good one versus just going out and buying a BCM and whatever lower you want for 800, right? It's like, well, you could have done the exact same thing for less.
yeah, as with everything, the answer could always be it depends.
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah. Carl Casarda Body Pill for 99 says, "I don't want the Better Business Bureau unless the HPA and Short Act are in it. Also, I used my expired credit card on my first chat, so here's a double." All right. Well, I imagine it went through somehow. So Interesting. Well, have a thank you very much. Appreciate that, sir. And yeah, the BBB. Well, apparently it's going to have a $0 tax stamp because Mr. Andrew Clyde's amendment did not get added. So big sad, and that happened 10 minutes ago, apparently. Chuck McGill for 669 for 499 says, well, would you look at the time? Also, this needs to talk about the toxicity of his community. Also, well, there you go. Perfect timing. Thank you very much, Richard. Very helpful. So true. Lucas Botkin is in the chat. Hope you're having a good night, sir.
Let's go.
In the middle of starting other companies, he decides to hang out here for some reason. You know, I mean, maybe his time could be spent better. Gun influencers saying these are too toxic are people who hate accountability. Yeah, that's usually what they mean. Is like, are we toxic? It's like, well, you're just getting called out for bad behavior or whatnot. Richard, speaking of which, you did your clip on his tactical mattress salesman was very good. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Oh no, dude, custom line, Everyday American. Some of these super chats, I'm gonna get in trouble. Everyday American for 2 says when 2 shills decide to do a podcast. I like David. Okay, so be nice. Well, you don't have to be super nice, but I like David a lot.
David's seems to be a good guy, and I think he's a fan of the channel because he hangs out in chat every once in a while.
Yeah. No, again, I met him. I've talked to him. We chat every now and again, so I do like David.
That time when we did the effing shoot, and I literally called the shoot. I was like, "We're done today."
So you went to the spa and cried, and now we're better.
Yeah, see, he knows
He knows you pretty well. Yeah.
I was like, "We're done." I was like, "Yeah, we're done for the day."
Well, let me ask a question because I've started to see this in the YouTube space. Is where I was going initially with the line of questions. Is it feels like there's like a rise in just like the overly negative, just like crapping on a thing type videos, like almost creating like the gun guy equivalent of drama. And what's crazy is it's getting big views. Like that's the format that seems to be working for gun channels now.
So it does work in the short term. There are people I know specifically who used to do that back when I was coming up, and you don't hear about them anymore. And because it's short-lived. Because the thing about drama is even drama gets old. Yeah. And inevitably after a certain period of time, somebody who's constantly engaging in drama, it's like, well, you're the problem.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm not saying you shouldn't be able to critique other people in the space. I'm not one of those people who are like, we're all a family. Don't say anything bad about each other. Right. If you want to make a big
Oh yeah, no, his point there is actually fairly cogent. I would just have a slight disagreement of what people call drama. And this always comes up when people say that negativity gets the most views or gets a lot of views. I just disagree. Like, I think the biggest channels on YouTube, by and large, especially in the gun industry, are positive review channels.
I would agree.
Or,
yeah.
You know, I'm trying to think who's the biggest.
My bad. So the thing about drama gun tubers is because the gun industry is so saturated with the same shit. Like it took H&K 8 years to release a CC9. Drama is like the only thing that's new and interesting in the gun sphere. That's why it's so fun to watch. That's why so many people watch it. Retards like this just don't grasp it.
Well, and it's like there's a difference between drama and just like we're just gonna say the thing people are thinking or hold individuals accountable. Like, not to fucking put myself on blast here, but when I talked about RXM better than Glock, I'm not trying to stir drama. It's Glock hasn't changed in 30 fucking years. So we're not starting drama. We're just stating factual information.
See, I wanted to call you out on that video too, because I was like, well, maybe the reason that they don't change every year is because they're a mature product line. Like Brantley Merriam just took second place at USPSA Nationals with a stock Glock 17. So, I mean, if you're talking like, oh, the performance isn't there with a gun, I just disagree, right? I think it almost always 99.99999 repeating percent of the time, performance comes down to the shooter, not to the actual gun once it meets a certain level. So I would have a counterpoint to your video is, so let's say we have a company like Toyota, okay? They have this wonderful engine that just runs and runs and runs. And then for some reason, they keep updating it and tweaking it every year. And it slowly gets worse and worse over time. Like we see with a lot of modern cars, they go from like a really robust, simple engine transmission combo. They change up something in there to make it like 1% more fuel efficient or something. And now it lasts half as long. Right. We see this happen all the time. Whereas with Glock, the one thing that you can say about them is that they are a mature product and they don't need to change a whole lot. If you do want to change a Glock, you have all of the aftermarket options imaginable. Right.
And I'm not trying to say that Glock is bad. That is not what I'm trying to say. I'm saying that there's things out there that are coming out that are doing what people wish Glock would have done for a very long time. And I'm not taking that the simplicity and the provenness isn't valuable, because that's the most valuable thing about a Glock.
Yeah, no, and I agree. I think that's what people pay for. Now, if we're talking about guns that are in that same price range, like the Ruger RXM, it's made by Ruger and Magpul. It's more feature rich for a lower dollar amount. I think that actually makes it very attractive. And as Starfish Prime says, he was our T-Rex Arms greatest defender last week, and also a very kind or a wonderful gentleman to talk to. Says, like the new Toyota trucks, yes. When companies are switching up their product all of the time, and they come out with Gen 2, Gen 3, Gen 4, Gen 5 within that many years, right? Like the SIG MCX or whatever else that it happens to be, or the 320,
P320, and they just don't give the different delineation.
Yeah, they're not coming out because it's a mature product that they wanted to evolve in a specific direction. They're trying to fix problems, right? That's what they're trying to do.
All I heard throughout that entire statement was just Glock perfection.
All right, focus.
Hey, man. If that's how you took it, King. What's up?
It's your turn, focus. You must become the king star of the gun tube.
I don't think that's possible. I'm not what's the word? I'm not agreeable enough to the average audience member. Like, I have a very niche audience and a niche reach, I guess you could say. Like, I don't think it's possible for me to get a big audience, which is perfectly fine. I prefer it here.
I heard somebody refer to you as the Jerry Springer of GunTube, and if that's the case,
I've heard that many times.
Yeah.
Yes.
If that's the case, that makes me Steve, and I'm okay with it.
Rams 1500s have plastic control arms now. Yeah. Anytime I talk to a truck guy, they don't recommend a truck made in the last 10 years.
Right? I wouldn't either.
Yeah, so here's the thing. I spent the last month and a half looking at trucks with my father because he was buying one. We could not find anything that didn't have 200,000 miles on it that wasn't $10,000 or more.
Yep.
It's ridiculous right now. Everybody wants an older truck because they're more reliable, they're more efficient. The new stuff is just garbage.
Yeah, that's female problems. Brake faded. Female problems. Can't blame it. Come on.
Yeah, I have people who regularly ask me if they could buy my truck. I've got an older Dakota, and people regularly like, "Is your truck for sale?" No, it's mine.
So we have Echoes of the Past, which is actually Will from that video that we watched, which is a former T-Rex Arm employee. So we have Will and Lucas in the chat.
Nice.
Hope they have a good conversation. I mean, I wish more reviewers in general, people in the gun space, could actually shoot. Gun advocates should be able to shoot guns decently well to represent them accurately. Yeah, I mean, it's always a little awkward when like your lawyer goes up there, the 2A lawyer goes up to shoot or something, and it's just, you're just watching him like, well, I'm really grateful for what you do and all, but you're also like not like the best foot forward for us, I suppose, in terms of competency. So
it's essentially an unboxing video. It's like a sponsored unboxing video with one mag.
Yeah, it's super frustrating when that happens. It's like, oh, this new product, cool, and then it's just a bunch of people who are just being paid or being sent review guns, and they don't actually give anything besides a spec sheet.
I can understand a very short review if you get into it and it's immediately hot garbage.
Yeah,
right? There's no sense in continuing to waste the time or the money on the product if it doesn't meet even basic requirements. So
yep, absolutely.
Videos talking shit about me, by all means, go ahead and do it. I mean,
that's how I started my channel.
Oh, you're CC3.
Well, so I think Colin might actually just have the correct attitude towards it all. It's like, I do this for money, and this is a business for me. There's not that much beyond it. And you know, he talks in a video for 30 minutes so he can run 3 different ad spots in it. It's pretty cynical, but it's, as long as you're self-aware, I guess it's fine.
He's not trying to be something he's not.
Yeah.
That's what she was saying.
And now the critiques where I'm like, okay, I see it's truly a critique. I respect them. A lot of them really is, it's just honestly hate. And they're like, they'll grasp at one little thing, and then they'll just ride that. And so you're right. It is happening more. And I think largely because we've been in, prior to where we are now, we've been in such a very contested state,
Right.
Because we've been dealing with the Democrats being in power for the most part, and so we've all kind of had one folk. We had one enemy. Now that things are kind of leveled off a little bit for now, because people forget this, everything runs in cycles. I keep telling people don't understand this shit. And now
I have to disagree with him.
Like, all right,
I don't think it's leveled off at all. I think it's still coming to a point even more, and this is part of it.
I tend to agree with that. I think that just it's all downstream of our culture and our nation. So as our culture and our nation degrades and becomes more and more bifurcated, it's going to just become more toxic, I suppose, if that's the word that you want to use. But I think that, I mean, you can call it accountability, you can call it whatever else that you want, but I think that people are going to be more intensive in their scrutiny of the people that they watch, the people that they consume content from. And I think that's a good thing. I think people do need to be aware of what they're watching, what they're consuming, what these people actually mean, if they're actually being given good information. Because like we could say like, Colin Noir does, maybe not the most
He's a shill.
Purveyor. Yeah, he's a shill.
Sorry.
We could just say that because that's a little bit simpler, but which I mean I think is a negative thing, right? Because if you're pushing people to spend their hard-earned money in less than advantageous places, or
like spending it on Springfields and expensive mattresses,
NRA, or
it
what's the other
depends
one?
More
what's the
when
other
it's
one?
a life-saving implement.
Yeah, USCCA, or recommending bad insurance programs, selling fear porn, basically. I think all that sort of stuff should be called out personally. I mean, honestly, Raid Shadow Legends gets a lot of crap, but it is just a dumb mobile game. If you shill for a dumb mobile game, like nobody gets hurt from that.
Yeah, I have said the entire time that I would prefer Raid Shadow Legends ads versus USCCA or SDI ads. We know exactly what it is, and nobody's upset.
Sorry, no, go ahead. I was reading Deskpop's comment. I simply don't understand who is watching Colin's content. I don't know, nor have I ever met anyone who just trusted his reviews or watches his stuff. Listen,
I do. I know
somebody does.
I know
okay? Somebody out there does.
It is people, and I have a friend of mine who I'm gonna put on blast a little bit. It's people who are extremely susceptible to covert advertising. This friend of mine, very close, really good dude, but he bought a Premier Body Armor set of body armor because it was shilled on YouTube. He bought I think he bought his PDP, or part of the reason why he bought a Walther PDP was because Colin Noir. I think it was
or Steven Crowder or somebody like that.
Yeah,
Steven's a Walther shill, isn't he?
Beretta,
something.
No, he was paid by Walther back before he was, but they sponsored him back before he even had a real following, which was that was very interesting to see. And he ended up stepping to him and said, we appreciate it, but we're getting a lot of flack right now. And they said, well, that's fine. We don't even need to advertise right now because we're selling so many. So they broke off the partnership.
Oh, nice. But it's people who are really susceptible to covert advertising. My homie, I've seen it.
How old is he?
He's my age.
Colin
He is my age.
Somebody asked about Colin's views. He does a lot of news clips and stuff like that. So, and then his podcasts are not that great, but in terms of his news clips, he gets fine views. Fine views for a channel with 3 million subscribers.
Yeah, he does pretty good for overall numbers. I think the majority of his following came from his time as the NRA spokesperson. I think that really, really boosted his following. And then he got into the YouTube gun sphere and started doing his own thing. And then it turned into what we see now.
Man, there is lots of PDP love and hate. I need to get one, dude. They're dirt cheap. I was seeing them online, like a full size, or $400, $500 for brand new.
Oh, really? Wow.
Not expensive. Not expensive at all. And that's optics ready, compact, full size, whatever it is. I saw a 5-inch on for like $450 shipped, and I was like,
wow.
Kind of
it's not a bad gun. I don't hate it.
No,
I
yeah.
shot his, and it's cool that if you buy it, you send them your serial, and they send you a specific plate for your optic. Whatever you give them your model and the optic, and they'll send you a free plate with it. And it's got
I
the
think
weird cuts in it and stuff.
Yeah, it seems like a good value, and I mean you can really spice those guys up. Like the performance package on those, it's a really trick trigger, probably the best striker fire trigger on the market. You can get a steel framed or wall through if you really want to, so it's cool.
It's funny because that was the only thing that Crowder ever repped about Walther. He said, "Just check out the trigger."
Okay,
that was his sales pitch, was just try the Walther, check out the trigger.
Nice.
They do have an exceptional trigger.
How can I be?
I liked his.
A contrarian to the space that was kind of like all sing-songy. We all we're all unified in this fight in that degree, and then it gets you quick views very quickly because you get.
Well, so I think that the way that they're framing it here, if I give them, I'll wind it back a little bit so I can give my full thoughts on it.
I'd be a contrarian to the space that was kind of like all sing-songy. We all we're all unified in this fight in that degree, and then it gets you quick views very quickly because you get the.
So I don't think people were just trying to be a contrarian, right? That's not where I come from this at all, is just trying to do the opposite of what other people do, because that's really gay. That leads you down really stupid paths where you're just being a contrarian for no reason whatsoever. I think for most of us, it's a more natural response to what we see as lying, for lack of a better term, or shillery, or whatever it might be. There's just like a sort of internal disgust, and if there's a way to put that out and people also have the same feelings, then that's what gets views, right? It's not some what's popular today that I can crap on for views or whatever it happens to be. That's not the way that I operate. I mean, I'm sure there are some people out there that do operate purely on contrarianism just to have a different opinion out there, but it again, you end up saying really wacky things like Navi and a few other people who just say really strange things about people sometimes.
Yeah, this is coming from Colian, who has never had a bad review of any gun that he's been sent. So
yeah, it's not trying to be a contrarian to point out your obvious relationships and inability to criticize products effectively that you're shilling. You know, it's just it's a recognition of what is.
I'm sure if I got a gun for free, I'd think it was really cool. I mean, I just got a Turkish shotgun for free. And you know
you
what?
won't think it's cool.
You won't, I promise.
Yeah, fair enough. But like, free shotgun. I mean, it might blow up, but I don't know.
Have you fired it yet? Because my Turkish shotgun was a single shot.
We'll see. We'll see.
All shotguns are a single shot if you make them bad enough. Okay.
Yep.
Gat Mage says, I bought Ben's books and started using his drills 3 years ago. Total game changer. Yeah, I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about that in the future pretty soon. About basically the one thing that changed my shooting direction irrevocably, which will be fun. And it also has to do with Ben. So yeah, as Lucas says, if everything is great, nothing is. Yeah, when you say that everything is great, every handgun you review is great, every whatever it happens to be is great, it's all meaningless, right? You might as well just not be talking. You might as well just have like dollar signs in your eyeballs, you know. It's just a walking billboard at that point.
The same
when you say the Springfield is great, then nothing is great.
Well, actually, he's talking about Springfield. Wasn't Colin one of the guys who was like in his bed defense video that was also a mattress ad? He was recommending the Springfield Prodigy, which is just well known to be the worst 2011 on the market.
Yeah,
he was.
that's just video.
That is just the thing, and it's like, the guys, I recommend the Springfield Prodigy as your bedside gun. Pick it up using my Avant link code in the description or whatever it happens to be. It's like, now you're recommending people like to defend their lives with this gun. Now we're starting to cross lines here, right?
Yeah.
We're getting a little squirrely.
Shilling matters more when it comes to life-saving gear or potentially life-saving gear. And Focus, I just sent you a screenshot of Colian Noir's expert title and thumbnail. But yeah, shilling matters a whole lot more. Did you send it to me?
I didn't get it.
Oh, who did I send it to?
I have no idea.
His wife.
He sent it to somebody. No.
I sent it to somebody else, but I also sent it to you now.
No, I got it. I will put it up on screen. Yeah, exactly. This is the type of marketing that we're dealing with here. And listen, people watch him, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people. So I think it is only fair to critique his opinions if they have effect on people's buying habits. 320,000 views.
Arrow. Oh.
the best. This is definitive. This is the best entry level 2011 on the market. Springfield Prodigy.
Based on the first mag alone, too.
I have an idea that if I clicked on this video, it would be, guys, I got this from Springfield, and this might even be one of those day and date drops where it's all embargo date, midnight. They all drop the video at the exact same time. And it's also the title of the video. This is a series called The First Mag, where they shoot like maybe a couple hundred rounds through it and call it a review. I'm doing it wrong, okay? If I'm spending thousands of dollars to review a product, I'm doing it wrong. I need to spend $50 at my local Walmart or whatever it happens to be, buy one, 200 round pack of ammo, go to the range, film the video, be done with it, call it the best of all time, profit.
No, you're being honest, John, okay?
No. I think you're just trying to sow hate in the 2A community, and you just hate the community.
Your Honor, it can't be hate if I love it so much. Oh, dude. For my villain arc, I will charge $3,000 to do a bad review on a product. That's actually funny. Oh, actually, that's good. JR says he's not a reviewer. He's a showcase girl. Showcaser.
I bet I'm not going to say that.
Yeah, don't worry about it. 200 rounds. You should keep this by your bedside. It's the best. Also, buy my mattress, which is also $2,000. Which I don't know. I don't do a lot of furniture shopping. I know furniture can be ridiculously expensive, but there's something. I'm like $2,000 on a mattress, really?
Well, you spend a third of your life on it.
Who cares? You're gonna be. Yeah. Who cares? You're gonna be sleeping on the couch anyway. I mean, like.
Real damn. Yeah. Again, yeah. Trent says I shoot 5,000 rounds per review per gun. Maybe I'm the real idiot here. Yeah. Honestly, instead of spending $1,300 on 9mm. For your reviews, you 200 rounds, call it a day, and then take an ad for that. I think that's a good idea.
Yep, exactly. Well, it's like they just want information quickly. So it's like, oh yeah, you shot this much, it's fine now. The review's out.
I think that there might actually be some value to getting a review out very quickly, right? Especially if it's a new product. So that, like, for instance, you could tell people why it's not very good or why it is really good. But if it's just going to be a fluff piece, you might as well just not talk.
You had 100 people dropping Springfield Kuna videos like the second that they come out. And then just a couple of days ago, you had Brass Vex drop his review.
No, Brass ran through that review. He did 5,000 rounds in like 2 weeks on that.
Yeah.
To get it out as fast as possible. And I think his still might be the only high round count review.
It
is because he was like, okay, we're putting 5 cases through this in the next 2 weeks to see if this thing's actually good. Everybody said it was good, but is it actually good? Right.
You know who does that really well is, at least in my experience, a few times, Mr. Guns and Gear. Because recently he'll have a product and he'll be like, I got this. This is what I think of it so far. Long-term review coming. I think
he usually bifurcates his reviews to where there's like a review a year later and then an early review. Again, early reviews are fine, and it's something that I've done as well, where it's like you get your first impressions out, especially if it's a hot product, to try and give people relevant information. If it's like more of a buyer's guide, I suppose. But the long-term reviews, the multi-thousand round counts, I think those are very important to people.
Yes, absolutely. I think they're. Well, that's what I look for when I look for a product, is who's actually had a lot of time using it, carrying it, shooting it.
Trent says my audience voted for the Thesis 1911. Dude, you should have gotten the Thesis 2011, because it should have been the Thesis 2011 versus the Springfield Prodigy, right? Those two next to each other. Battle of the
Battle of the Titans.
Yeah. the Tardtons or something.
Something like that.
Who has a big following, and then people are like, I want to see it. If somebody makes a video about a big person, and I know it's cheating on them, I might see what they got to say. Yeah, we'll watch it, right?
Right.
But by the third video, I won't.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, dude. Like, I see what you're doing here, right?
Yeah.
And so, but you're not wrong, because I've seen it too. And Peter's asked will send them to me.
Dude, I'm not even on camera, and I
have to tell Peter, like, let it go.
And I can't, like, I barely ever comment. I recently commented one dude because I'm like, I looked him up, and he literally had Coleon shout him out at SHOT Show while we were there. He does it because he's like that with everybody. He's like, yo, yeah, you're doing content? Yeah, make sure you check out these people. I'm not going to say the names. And then on one of his other videos, he recently was just like, oh, why are you showing this? Oh, that's fucking crazy. I'm like, it just baffles my mind that once you get to a certain point, they just want to hate on you. But they all want to become what you're doing. They want to get sponsors. He's looking for sponsors. They want to do this and that, but then it's.
I think that right there, that kind of sells the game, right? Everybody at these events, and they're all searching for sponsors. We're all trying to get sponsors. Most of these people have either already sold their soul or are simply looking for a buyer. Right? Some people's price is a little higher. I've talked to people who will sell out for the first offer, or people that have set like a dollar amount, but at some point, like, you're gonna sell out. You're just looking for that sponsor, and I think that's the wrong mentality, right? If you're getting into this specifically to get, if you're getting into the game to specifically just to make money off of shilling products in the 2A space, I dislike that.
Oh, yeah, shilling products in the 2A space, but getting into it just to make money. I was gonna say, I'm sitting here with an anime profile picture on a pair because of somebody donated $200.
You can make money, but if my entire channel was built around selling, let's just pick a product, even if it's a good product, the Ruger RXM, that's my entire channel's purpose.
Okay, sorry.
Right. I am the Ruger RXM's biggest defender. And because of that, in my other reviews, I kind of downplay Shadow Systems or Glock or whatever else it be. It's like, well, now your opinion just it isn't as worthwhile, right?
Yeah, your opinion
you have a vested interest,
less so.
Right. So let's talk about Max Michel, fantastic shooter for Sig Sauer, but every time he talks about the P320, it's like there's a gun pointed at the back of his head. Right.
Well, he might just be concealed carrying a 320, so it might be pointed at the back of his head.
I have this clip for you guys. Enjoy this.
Testicular torsion!
Oh my god. Oh, he's gone.
And John's dead now too.
Gone. It got him.
Let's go on.
The Sig Goon Squad, they got him.
Yep.
Well, I don't know where he went, but
he said he'll be right back.
Okay.
Richard, you're now in control.
All right. Well, I will run things for the time being.
Lead us.
What?
I am now the only John on the John stream.
You are John now. Actually, hand it over to Dank. Give him the steering wheel.
You got it. There you go, Dank. It's all you.
I'm gonna start shilling products right now.
What's the first one you're gonna shill?
SDI.
No SDI, dog. I spend StreamYard service for it to randomly, an hour and 40 minutes into the stream, change all of the inputs, change to a different camera, change to a different mic, boot me out of the studio. Fantastic.
It's a feature.
No.
Quality.
I wouldn't leave you
It
guys.
keeps you on your toes,
Even if I had to come back on my phone, I would be back here for you guys. Do not worry.
Oh, hell
oh,
yeah.
did it kill the
Dedicated.
stream as well? Damn.
Yep.
It really did. Well, Richard, you have the ability to share stuff, so you can continue on without me until I figure my crap out. I hope you would do that for me. You would just keep the stream going.
Yeah, I can do that.
They'll carry the boats.
Yeah, carry the boats. Speaking of boats, Custom Line for Two says Colin is bilingual. Ebonics and Japanese, brother. Thank you for that, sir. 6 hour for 99 says Colin Noir would review a stapler and make you believe it's a precision engineered tactical home defense solution with just the right amount of recoil. Dude, as many buzzwords as you can fit into one sentence. Amazing. Thank you, 6 hour. Todd Dogs for 2 says, damn it. Okay, perfect. Yeah, thank you, Todd Docs, for the $2. I get what you mean there. Absolute Moon Man for 5 says chirp, which I think there you go. $5. Thank you, Absolute Moon Man. Testing 2741 for 5 says drama YouTube has been going strong for decades. All genres ain't going away. Yeah, and I mean, and that's kind of the thing. Some people might not enjoy the more drama focused or whatever you want to call it, but at the same time, people are tired of the same 20 reviewers reviewing the same products at the same time. The same companies. It's like, how many more polymer framed 9mm handguns do you need to see reviewed, right? And people differentiate themselves.
Glock clone.
Very exciting. Even if it's a good one, like the RXM, even if it's a good Glock clone, people still, it's just It's not that exciting, right? And I like it or not, YouTube is entertainment first. People click on videos because it's entertainment, right? And especially when we get into, sponsorship, shilling, when it comes to reviews of life-saving products, then, there's kind of that whole aspect to everything that people may or may not like to get called out for. And I would just say that space in GunTube simply hasn't been there in the past, but is now growing, right? So now we have a pushback in the 2A space, whereas before we really didn't. And I actually think it's for the best. Some people might argue it's for the worst, but I would argue it's actually for the best to hold our representatives, for lack of a better term, to a higher standard. So
yeah, I think it's short term. It might be, it's going to ruffle feathers and maybe be disruptive. But I mean, if you are, going to quietly shill a product, but not own the fact you're doing so, or, be a non-upfront individual, it's not productive for the community long term.
I think me and Bones, we still need to have it out. I'm going to call him the biggest Ruger RXM shill, and then he's going to fight me about it for like an hour and a half, and I'm going to call him like a Magpul supporter, and he doesn't like America because they use overseas polymer or something. We'll figure something out.
That sounds good.
Huge ass for 199 says, I miss Paul Harrell. Indeed, simpler times, good sir. Thank you, Huge ass. Hope you're having a good night. Everyday American for 5 says the Ruger RXM is interesting because it opens up Flux Raider stuff that takes Glock mags, and I want a Raider but hate SIG. The RXM makes that a possibility. True. Yeah.
Well,
I think
it's not only a possibility, but I have it under good authority from someone at Flux that they are actively working on one for the RXM, and it will be coming out soon.
We take those W's here at Big RXM Camp.
Dude, I can't wait for it to release and be $700.
True.
Well, I mean, that's still 1/3 of whatever it is for freaking the Flux. The Flux is insane. Todd and Docs for 2 says, shout out to my homie Nick Gurr. Also, Trench is gay for $2. Thank you very much, Todd Docs. Appreciate that, sir. Testing 2741 for $2 says, FYI, also a T-Rex defender. Hi, Lucas. Thank you, Testing 2741. But responding to the allegations about Trench being gay, I think he has a statement on the matter.
I like to wear one around my neck because I'm gay.
Okay, and it didn't kick me out that time. Fantastic.
Let's go. We're so back.
Fresh Peanut Shade for 5, the best helicopter rides in the business with the best clientele, says blood sports, blood sports, blood sports. Is a man not entitled to his gun tube Jerry Springer? GT on internet. Mari Povich? Are we entertained? Indeed. Thank you, Fresh Peanut Shade for 5. Central Sands Defense for 2 says focus trip. You are not the father. Yeah, I'm never beating the allegations. Thank you,
we
Central
need
Sands
to do
Defense.
One of those with Grand Thumb.
For something tells me he ain't gonna show up for that. Absolute Moonman for 5 says World Star shouts focus as the gun tubers swing at one another. Yeah, they do it to themselves. That's the thing. It's like we don't manufacture any stories or any drama. They just end up doing it to themselves. People might not like that we talk about it, but we're not the cause of any of this. They just want to blame somebody else rather than, look inward. Mitzvah TV for 189 says, I work on new GM trucks. They suck. Yeah, I don't. Every time I think about buying a new car, I'm like, why would I do that? It sounds like an awful idea.
Any car newer than 2008 is bad. Change my mind.
They're definitely not getting any prettier, that's for sure.
Counterpoint, the 2016 Jaguar F-Type R. Okay, counterpoint. Focus from Swipe 189 says 100% American-made hate. Yes, that's right. All day, all American hate, straight from the source. Thank you, Focus from Swipe. Robert Kinley for 2 says Focus Trip is the red bar of GunTube. I think that's a comedian, but I am not familiar with any of his work. But I think Red Bar is a comedian, if I remember that correctly.
I think you're thinking of Red Band.
Red Band? Who's Red Bar?
I have no clue who Red Bar is, but I know. I think Red Band is the comedian you're thinking of.
Aaron, makes you pull that up.
I'll pull
Yeah,
Red Bar?
I just set
Red
my
Bar?
counterpoint of the Jaguar argument in private chat right now.
What is it?
Red Bar Rewind? Is that what he's talking about? Red Bar Rewind?
Oh, shut up, dude. They did. Okay, Jaguar losing 98% of its value in like 12 months. Deserved. Rest in piss. You deserve it. But you made a couple good cars along the way. Thank you for the 2, Robert. Huge ass for $4.99 says Colin Nigeria needs to worry about his own quote unquote community before the 2A community. Thank you, Richard. We are never going to beat the allegations at this point.
Nope.
Pro Gamer, you almost got me, man. You almost got me. You're going to do it someday. Pro Gamer Nick Gerlips for 2 says could have been better with a better help. True, BetterHelp, where it was a fake. It was basically a scam. What's the word for it? Therapy clinic, where they would have non-certified professionals doing the online therapy sessions. So they would connect you with people that weren't even certified, and then charge a monthly fee for BetterHelp. And they got called out for it. They went away, and then they're back. So they're now. You might see BetterHelp ads.
It was
Just
even
keep in
worse.
mind that they took your money for I think they sold your data off, and they gave you not real therapists, and not great things. So just remember, every time one of these YouTubers shills something like that.
Yeah, they sold your data, and then they also sold information to marketing agencies to help market specific products to you because they thought that you might need them because you're depressed.
You're sad? Here's a Turkish shotgun.
No longer sad.
Chill out, Kurt Cobain.
Oh, 6 hour for $4.99
that was a
says
Remington.
Colin currently demonstrating with his hands how far into trench you penetrate. Oh my gosh, 6 hour. You kissed your mother with that mouth. Damn. Damn, it's never getting better. Gabriel Baker for $1.99 says, this gun is just so sexy. True. I do like the hyperbole in a lot of these gun reviews. Nick for 2 says, just ordered Ben's books, hoping to get better. Yeah. Dry fire books, dry fire drills, that's like 90% of it. And then just be really, really consistent. And yeah, you will get better. I guarantee it, good sir. Thank you for the 2. Coyote 6 for $109 says, fat guys love Gucci gears. White Knuckles honey bun. Yeah, I mean, probably. Yeah, I mean, it's always. No, I won't go into that, but there's some correlation there for sure.
I know a lot of
Coyote
big
6.
fellas who buy Gucci gear, so
the
anecdotal
dude,
evidence.
the guy who has a staccato flag in his range trailer is a very large dude, a man of unusual proportions, if you will. We'll leave it at that. Good dude, really, really good dude though.
So Red Bar talks shit about comedians in their podcast. Okay, Red Bar, good to know. Compulsive gun buyer for 5. I hope you're having a good night. James says the Colin dilemma. When you see Colin Noir at shot and want to say hi, but you're only 90% sure that it's him. Thank you for the 5, compulsive gun buyer. I think we might be doing a podcast with him shortly, like a dedicated on a totally separate topic, which I think people may or may not be interested, but there might be a totally different podcast in the near future. Absolute Moonman for 5 says, how much money to force that trench guy everyone hates to be friends or whatever with that guy I pregnant react on the Discord. Trench and him may or may not get along. I can't confirm. I mean, Trench was in the Discord for a little while, but I think he left because it's a little toxic on there.
Yeah,
we're not nice to him.
I don't think that they would get along very well. Although they do have one thing in common. Neither of them care for Israel much.
Ooh. Thank you for the 5, Moon Man. Central Saints Defense for 5 says, I spent several years shooting the ADM PRC 700 chassis before I felt comfortable making a video. Yeah, I mean, that's how it goes. I know people that really, when they're into a new topic that they haven't really worked on before, whether it's precision rifle or shotgunning or some new facet that they're not really an expert in, they're just kind of dipping their toes in, that they kind of shut up about it for a long time until they gain some experience, right? Which, is never a terrible thing to do.
Well, that's the experience bell curve as well.
Mm-hmm. The Dunning-Kruger effect, some might say.
Yeah.
Where is it? The more you actually know, or the less you know, the more you think you know.
There's a very short peak where you know very little, but you think you know a lot.
Yes. Yeah.
And then there's the dip of despair where you know a little bit more, but you think you know nothing. And then there's like the curve of enlightenment where it slowly goes up. You know more, you think you know more, and it just kind of
Yes.
tapers off at the end, right? So that's the Dunning-Kruger effect. Chuck McGill for 499 says, "Sorry, liberals, we appendix carry Glock 34s in this chat. Who would listen? Oh my gosh, damn it! You had me in the first half. Who would listen to this? Anyways, thoughts on the P99? It is such a vibe. The P99, was that in Modern Warfare 3, the original Modern Warfare 3? Very cool gun. Big
I like
leg.
it.
Yeah,
I think I remember that.
I think they just did their last hurrah edition for that gun. And if I remember correctly, they're not too expensive. It's kind of cool. Kind of cool.
Neat.
Basecamp 499 says, "We poked fun at him in a video today for 0.75 seconds, so I take credit for the crash out." Yes, your fault, not mine. I am blaming you, Mr. Basecamp. Also, I will respond to your Instagram message. I have not forgot. I get a lot, so I try to keep up with it all. Absolute Moonman for 10 says, "That's right, Richard. I am your personal Raid Shadow legend. It's true. No big sponsors here, just Absolute Moonman."
Oh, and
Was
Hugh
it true?
Jazz.
And Hugh Jazz, yes.
True,
Well, I mean,
yeah.
real talk, though, we are sponsored by the audience, which is why I don't need to take sponsorships. I don't need to do anything else. You guys enjoy watching, you support. You don't enjoy watching, you don't support. Very fair trade, in my opinion, and you guys are extremely generous. Extremely generous. We couldn't do it without you, and we honestly wouldn't do it without you. So,
Free market YouTuber.
Not many of those around anymore.
6 hour 499 says, "Every single person on screen looks like they're about to pound on the wall and scream, 'Mom, more meatloaf.' I would never do that. I would tell my wife to get me a refill, but not my mom. Okay,
Get back in the kitchen.
yeah, back in the kitchen.
Back in the kitchen."
She's probably mangling 3 feral children at the moment, so she's fighting the real fight.
You let her out of the basement?
What? Where do you
You
think
got
they
the
all
longer
live?
chain.
Where do you think they
It's
all live?
into
They're
the
all
basement.
down there. They're all down there. Come on.
Man, you built a kitchen down there? God, I'm jealous. 2 kitchens?
Yeah, there's a little elevator that she puts the food on to take it up to me. It's fantastic. The light sport
Dumbwaiter?
for $5, something like that. The light sport for 5 says, "How would Mr. Noor feel if he didn't eat breakfast this morning?" That is one of those deep philosophical questions that really gets at the heart of the issue. And I think if I continue with the sentence, even if I don't know exactly where it's going, by the time that I've gotten all these words out, it'll appear that I'm saying something really deep and metaphorical about the underpinnings of society and its nature.
I just say retarded things.
Yeah.
I feel enlightened now.
All right, well, moving on.
It's just like, oh, and I get both sides a little bit, but yeah, it eats me, and I'm not even the person. I'm getting worked up now. Sorry, let me calm down.
The one thing I will say is, like, for me, I am a diehard. I am an affirmative capitalist. I found a passion, and then down the road, I was able to monetize that passion or create some monetary gain from that passion. I do not apologize for that at all. And the reason why I don't apologize for it is because I'm monetizing something I truly love to do, and I'm talking about guns I would otherwise be talking about anyway. And then on top of that, as far as from an ad standpoint, because I think one of the critiques was, I think I did a video about where one of the sponsors was a bed company. They made beds.
That was us. It was us. Fantastic.
Yeah.
No, we got it.
Mentioned. Stream mentioned.
Also,
Colin,
real quick.
I want to get into it real fast. Okay, Colin, if you do watch this, okay, no problem with making money. None whatsoever. Making money on YouTube, treating it like a job, taking care of your friends, your family, your coworkers, your employees, whatever it might be. Awesome, excellent, fantastic. The only problem that people have is when it's like outright shilling, lying, or appears dishonest, right? That's all.
Yeah. Also, he made a comment on he would love these guns anyway. No, you wouldn't, because you wouldn't have been sent them for free by the manufacturer.
Yeah, well, that's another little conundrum. Is it's like, dude, I would have bought these guns, and it's like, but you didn't.
But you got them for free.
So it's
The
like,
opinion's automatically skewed when that's involved, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they were like, well, why? Like, oh, it's the ultimate shilling to bed. I was like, so it's the ultimate shilling to do a sponsor.
I know the video you're talking about now.
But I'm like, it's.
That's funny because I think David might have texted me a couple days ago when that happened. So that's actually funny.
Ultimate chilling to do a sponsor for a bed company on a video about my bedside gun.
No. It is great product placement. Fantastic. However, one of the guns that you recommended people was a Springfield Prodigy, which is just like well known as the worst 2011 out there. So
the
making money
boomers know.
on a making money off of a bed sponsorship, funny and it works in well. It's good product placement in a bedside defense gun, right? Or a bedside defense video, whatever you want to call it. But when it when you just happen to show the guns that you take sponsorships for or whatnot, it's like, okay, this is an ad piece inside of an ad piece. Like this is just it's just an ad, right?
Yeah. Also, he poorly shielded the bed because the top comment or whatever the pinned comment wasn't the right thing because
It
they
was
just
just a
copy
copy
and
pasta.
pasted.
Yeah.
I find it
Yeah.
really funny when an individual or reviewer, whoever it is on YouTube, they're like, "This is the most comfortable plate carrier I've ever worn," or "This is my favorite pistol for this," and then in their other videos, they're not using it, and you never see it again outside of that video, and it's like, oh, okay, that's interesting that your favorite thing or your go-to is not ever seen again after you make that video. It's a very telling way.
I hope that I don't ever see that mattress or the inside of his bedroom again. I got Diddy vibes.
Oh,
There was a-
that's just mean. That's just mean.
There was
Well,
a weird third chair.
It wasn't just
Like,
a chair, but it was
listen.
extremely it was sanitary like a hospital room.
Well, because he just got it out of the packaging. Duh.
The whole bedroom? Like, I mean, even
Yes.
the walls and stuff, dude.
It could have also just been a film set. Could have been not his bedroom. It could have just been where they
do you think
did
you
the
get?
video.
How do you think you get a huge bed into a bedroom? You have to take everything out of it. So you take everything out of it, and then you have the bed in there, and that's the centerpiece because that is the ad, right? It's about the bed, and then you do your bedside defense guns, which is also another kind of ad for the gun companies you work for, right? So yeah, I get why it looks sanitized like a set because it was a set.
Yeah, it gave me creepy vibes.
But it's
I'm not like I'm creepy, but even if I wanted to put it in a fucking first mag review,
Right.
You don't sleep,
right.
Yeah.
Like all the sponsors he has, like he generally uses them. He likes them. It's not like he's that. And I get what they're trying to say, but then I know if you comment or say something to them, oh, I'm sorry, bro. I was just trying
Yeah,
to
that
get a
happens
rise.
a lot.
Or I'm a big
I realize
fan.
a lot. Yeah, so a lot of times.
Colin, I will get you on and we will talk about it. I will pull up examples of things where I believe you have been less than honest, or I believe that you're maybe shilling a little too hard. We will talk about it. We'll have a good time. Citations required. Fantastic.
Pull up the receipts.
I won't even hit the chirp button once, I promise.
No, Richard won't be here. I will not have him on this. Colin Noir, not happening.
No.
Can't,
Like maybe
can't
one
take that
chirp.
risk.
I'll moderate it. Or
It's
not.
Richard, that's that meme where he's sweating, except both red buttons is the chirp. Chirp or chirp.
Yeah. No, it
I
makes
wanted
sense.
to hit it so bad when Vintage was debating.
No,
That one
you
dude.
can't do
Yeah.
that, dude. Okay, so you do that, and then he starts looking around because he's like, "Oh, is that one of mine again?"
Yeah.
Oh.
You gotta set it up on a macro so it goes at an average interval and it sounds like it's real and in the background of your mic.
Oh, I didn't think about that. Setting it on the automatic 30-second
Yeah,
loop.
every no,
Yep.
it has to be
Every
like 10
60,
minutes.
right?
10 minutes. I don't know. No, it's got to be longer. I see. We're arguing about this. We don't know because we replace our batteries, but
How?
it's something. It's got to be something.
And,
No, you just take the
People say
battery out
because
and
they
then you
know
never
it's
hear
kinda
it.
going against.
Trying
Yeah,
to
that happens a
rise.
lot.
Or I'm a
And I
big
realize a lot,
fan.
yeah. So a lot of times people will say stuff because they know it's kind of going against the grain.
Right.
Because if they see you have a big audience of people who support you, they know they can get your attention. And you know what? It's our fault. It's our fault because we're doing it now.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm giving the attention to the negative.
Sure.
At what point have I talked about the people who actually support me vehemently? I haven't mentioned them once.
Yeah.
But
Well, I mean, it's hard to do because I mean, the squeaky wheel gets the grease,
That's
and
true.
like, I mean, for those of you who don't keep up with YouTube analytics, for every 100 views in a video, you maybe get 10 comments,
Yeah.
and you get like one
One
like.
like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a 110-1 kind of ratio.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you
Wait, sorry, I have to. Let me listen to David to get on that because I don't know. I don't know what he was trying to get out there.
Who actually support me vehemently? I haven't mentioned them once.
yeah.
But
Well, I mean, it's hard to do because I mean, the squeaky wheel gets the grease,
That's
and
true.
like, I mean, for those of you who don't keep up with YouTube analytics, for every 100 views in a video, you maybe get 10 comments,
Yeah.
and you get like one
One
like.
like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
Oh, he was backwards. You get 10 likes and 1 comment. You do not get more
Mm.
comments than likes. If you are getting more comments than likes, you are getting roasted, destroyed, like T-Rex Arms last video. But yeah, if you get more comments than likes, something is going very, very wrong. But he just
They-
misspoke there. He misspoke there. He switched it around and said,
They have a term for that. I believe it's called being ratioed.
"Yeah."
Damn.
They need to bring back the
110 to
dislike
1
button.
kind of ratio. So I mean, the comment section really doesn't represent anything because it's just the minority,
and you have to teach yourself that. For anybody who's going to plan on getting into the space and content.
Man, I disagree. I think that each one of those comments do represent like 10 people, because for everybody that didn't take the time and energy to type out a comment, the one that did, they do represent a chunk of the audience, which is why if I have a video that has, say, 10,000 views, 150 comments, 200 comments, whatever it might be, even if there's only 2 or 3 negative comments, I think that represents 20, 30, 40, 50 people who disagreed with my take on that or a specific aspect of the video. So I think those negative comments do matter. I think they're honestly the most important, right? Because every now and again I say something where in my head I don't think it's that important, or I didn't think it all the way through, and then like people start calling me out on it, and I'm like, okay, I see where they're coming from. I see where I made the mistake of that, or where I did not word that properly, or where I was too flippant, right? Or I didn't understand the way that would come off. So I think that is very useful for introspection.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And I think that looking at the negative comments and the negative reviews is how you get better at doing what you do. But yeah, I totally agree that the negative comments do represent more than just the individual comments, because that's why you'll see additional thumbs up on those comments. Those thumbs up are people who agree with the statement, and they're not going to take the time to type out the exact same thing.
Yeah. And for every, 10 likes on a negative comment, 100 people didn't even make it that far into the video because they turned it off because they didn't like you.
Yeah. 30 seconds in and they're like, no, I'm not watching this, and they turn it off.
Yeah, your audience is primarily the silent audience. Go ahead, Richard. I didn't mean to cut off.
I think that it's important to specifically look at the negative comments. Like you said, if we look at this from the consumerist perspective, if we're providing a product and we get negative reviews about the product, those are the ones that we need to focus on and see what we can do to improve. I see it as no different than something that you would get off of, Amazon or anything else.
Yeah, I mean, especially with your opinions or whatever. I mean, since I've been getting into the space and had more attention on my channel now, like I like to go and look. My favorite comments are always the negative ones. I mean, like I like to see the positive ones, but looking at the negative ones, for one, if they're dumb, it's really funny.
Yeah.
If what they're saying doesn't make any sense, it's really funny. But two, a lot of the time I learn something when I go down there. Like somebody brought up on the vertical grip video, they're like, hey, by the way, a lot of these got popular because the M4 handguard was so small and guys wanted the extra space. And I was like, you know what? I didn't even really think of that. So yeah, there is a lot of value in it, as long as you cannot take things super personally and also identify when somebody is just having a bad take and then point and laugh.
Yeah. Well, and I think this is where we have sort of lost the spirit of healthy debate and argumentation. I think that people look at any sort of critique as like a personal attack or as like they hate you for something, but I have had vehement disagreements with people and still been friends with them and still gotten along, still had working relationships with people, even after we get into verbal altercations, right? And I think you need to have that spirit of argumentation if you want to thrive on YouTube, because it is a interactive website. This isn't a blog. This isn't my personal blog site where I put something up and nobody's allowed to comment on it. Nobody's allowed to like, nobody's allowed to react or share it around or whatnot. So I think that is just part of the space.
And creation, understand that. Like, you will get, it's easy to think that the comment section is representative of the people who follow you. Most people when was the last time you commented on a video?
Yeah. Oh no. I mean, I comment on my friends' videos, like guys who I've met.
Yes.
So like I do that. But, I mean, generally speaking, unless I do try to affirm people when like I had seen their channel before and they did a killer job. Like, hey man, this was awesome. And, I'll try and drop that because that I can remember when I've gotten those kind of attaboys and it makes a big difference.
It really does. And the thing is, the hardest thing is not to let those don't become too used, like get so used to seeing the attaboys where you don't acknowledge them anymore, where you just kind of like, okay, yeah, well, that's not, again, because then you do this kind of overt focus on all the negative stuff. Yeah. And then you're just fueling it at that point. And I'm talking to myself, talking to you.
Oh yeah. No, I get it. And I mean, the other thing is like the risk of like audience capture, because you do something and like you get a lot of attention for it. So you're like, well, that worked. Maybe I'll try that again. And then all of a sudden, like you carve a niche unintentionally for yourself because like that's all the thing you're doing now. So I mean, it's wild. It's cool though.
Hey, speaking of carving a niche unintentionally for myself and putting myself into a corner, felt like he was talking to me right there. I have created the monster and I can no longer control it. But no, my I very much so appreciate my audience, and this is something that I enjoy doing, for lack of a better term, and I still put out at least 2 gun videos a week, so people can't be too mad at me, I suppose. But hanging out with you guys is a lot of fun.
I've really enjoyed being a part of this community. I mean, people have been pretty welcoming, and it's a
I mean,
positive.
I know that we get a terrible reputation for being extremely negative, but we actually do have a really good time. And, you know, people on the Discord, I hang out with people every day in voice chat, basically. Yeah, aside from calling people out for perceived bad behaviors, we actually do have a good time.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, and blind positivity and blind negativity are both bad.
100%.
Yeah. So
it just sucks to be on the butt end of the negativity sometimes, I guess, when you're being the one called out for something, which, you know, it sucks regardless, whatever, you know, if it's deserved or not.
I mean, even if it's undeserved, I think that creates an opportunity for you to speak out against it, right?
True.
So, like, this is this
monetize the haters.
This video is the YouTube gun community becoming toxic. There's only 100 videos like this on YouTube, right? So you have the counterculture, which is the toxic side. Let's just say me or us in this case. And then you have the counter where it's like, well, you know what, guys, we're going to call out the meanies for being too mean. Right. And so it's a cycle, right? It's a loop. It keeps going.
The whole you're being divisive of the 2A community argument. Yeah.
It's the YouTube community. YouTube community is not a real thing. It's people watching videos and streams and commenting about products, right? Does it have some overlap with the true pro 2A community, whatever you want to call it? Yes, of course. But I would argue that's much more in the real world than anything else.
And I think it's very, very small numbers in comparison.
Yeah, the last Mia Rose did block me when I invited them on the panel, so that was nice of them.
Epic.
Epic.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I need to get a shirt that just says Team Toxic. True. Team Toxic.
We want to make GunTube a worse place.
No. Better through toxicity.
Yeah, that's the joke.
Don't try that again, and then all of a sudden, like, you carve a niche unintentionally for yourself because, like, that's all the thing you're doing now. So, I mean, it's wild. It's cool though, because, like, you do get a lot of other perspectives, but you do kind of have to, like, okay, is this true or not? Or, like, I hadn't really thought about it that way, but I can see why you'd say that. You know, like, it's a hard mirror to look in sometimes. But it really is a mirror.
Damn, you hit the nail on the head. You're right, because there's sometimes it's like,
I disagree. I don't think it's a hard mirror to look in at all, because it's just a natural part of introspection. And I get plenty of pushback, even in my own chat, and certainly from other YouTubers. So I think it is always always a very, I don't know how I want to word this, confrontational space. So, like, I don't ever go along thinking that I am just perfect in all the things that I do without pushback, because I get a lot of pushback. And so I do have to constantly, you know, no, what's the word that I'm looking for? Self-rationalize, self-internalize what I'm trying to do, right? Or I could just mug the camera like John.
So Lance has got a good point here. Is a community of subcultures truly great when they are all aligned or agreeing with each other? Or is it better that they all fight each other and force each niche to improve?
Well, I would argue it's more analogous to a body fighting off different infections. Like, you don't want to be a community with the infection.
You gotta police your own.
The cancer. Yeah, I mean, you do, right? You can't let everything into the body because it's just not all good, you know?
Such as 2A for all. You know, you got to police your own community to a certain extent.
That's funny. Humble is actually in the chat. He says, "Hey, I finally made it onto one of your streams. Yeah, on a Call-In Noir podcast. I mean, you could come on anytime you wanted to. Not a problem with me."
I was gonna say, David,
hope you're having a good night, David.
You got an open invitation, I thought.
I mean, honestly, most of the buddies in the space have an open invitation. They just, you know, most normal people don't self-invite themselves onto panels, unlike the degenerates on the panel right now. But most other people just they wait for you to ask them on, right? Not that that's a problem. I love you guys. You're here just to look smacks on the panel. That's what you guys are here
Yeah.
for.
Exactly.
They don't obviously have the Sigma grind set that we have.
I'm just here to flex my Uber instincts of my Uber autism.
My Uber autism.
I will see a critique and I want to get mad about it. I'm like, there may be a point to that, and I could see why that person kind of feels that way. And it's hard to do. It's really hard to do. I'm not gonna lie, it's really hard because you.
No, but I think that is a healthy way to look at it, because people are going to critique you and you have to actually deal with that. Is it a real critique? Is it good, bad? If it's a good critique, make adjustments in your life. If it's a bad critique, you can either push back about it or just disregard it, right? And a lot of the times it's easier just to disregard it. Now, if it's something a little more damning or something a little more public, it's probably best to push back on it. But most of the time, just figure out if that's something that's really something you need to work on or not, or not, and then move on from there.
Yeah, you have to assess criticism sometimes. There have been times where I'm like, somebody will say something and it'll be like, I do not think that what you're saying will improve what I'm doing or is something I need to be concerned about. You need to be able to identify one that is. It's hard to, but like keep an open mind. But also, if you're just like taking everybody's criticism, it's probably not going to be for the best.
Well, it is a fine balance, because I take a lot of criticism. I think about it and try and square that away with my worldview, with my values. Is that something that I actually need to adjust? Because people call me out on all sorts of things, right?
Yeah.
And so I think it is important to take that into account. But it's also, you should have people in your life that you trust to be critical of you, friends that are willing to call you out and whatnot. And so you should always hold their opinion higher. But also sometimes people with an outside perspective have a interesting view on what you're doing and what you're saying that you need to take into account.
Absolutely.
The Humble Marksman says, so what's interesting is how he positioned the conversation. We talked about a ton of stuff and he picked the controversial way to do it. Well, I actually agree with you, because Colin might get a lot of jokes in this chat about being, dumb or whatnot. I don't think Colin is actually dumb. I think he's actually extremely good at what he does. And so if there's a way to guide the conversation down the most controversial paths or something that's going to get the most clicks, I think Colin is very good at doing that. So I think he
passed
approached
the
the
literal
topic.
bar exam by being dumb.
Yeah, correct. We might make fun of him for the things that he says, because he might say some dumb things, but I do not think that he is dumb.
No, he's
You do
extremely
kind of subconsciously
intelligent
develop an
and
ego
very
a little
well
bit
articulate.
when you've been doing something, because you do kind of subconsciously develop an ego a little bit when you've been doing something for so long. And you're getting so many people that support you. It's easy to develop an ego unconsciously, where you don't even realize it's there until it gets hit, and then you kind of have to stop yourself short of like, you're just being egomaniac, like calm it down. And so that's why I'm almost just like, don't even entertain a lot of it, right? What's funny though is sometimes what's interesting is, I'm using you as therapy, by the way.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Yeah, David, a lot of this conversation is simply him talking at you.
Sometimes we're like, I'm very, very, very good at keeping very private. But sometimes I kind of want to be.
Your real name is Coley Noir, right?
And sometimes I want to, just for the sake of people I know who supported me for so long, I want to be able to kind of just be forthright about certain things, like, and just talk. So like now what I've started doing is using, like I'm telling you right now, when you see me do a single podcast by myself, I'm using it as therapy. It's tactical therapy for me. When people are like, get to the point, I'm like, that's not the point of this video.
I need to talk to somebody.
That was another critique of his other video that we looked at, was that he said so little in so long. Because what was this T-Rex Arms video, like 35 minutes long or 17 minutes long, something like that. It was really, really long to say almost nothing.
Yeah, there's about
Almost
5
nothing.
minutes that he needed to talk, and he stretched it out quite a long time.
You're gonna listen.
And that camera don't talk back. And so, what was I saying? I was making a point about something.
Were you?
Oh, sometimes when you give too much nuance, people get confused. Like I did a video recently where
It's called word salad, good sir. It's called word salad, where you just continue to move on with more and more words without actually making a point. It's called word salad, which lawyers are really good at. If you can confuse the audience or the people you're talking to, you can appear very smart.
Well, it's not difficult to confuse us because, especially me.
I'm kind of retarded.
True.
Solo podcast, and I think I was talking about that like Lucas Bakken situation,
yeah,
right? And the whole point wasn't it was to be honest. And what I was trying to do was also give in context. It was like, we're not friends, but I think some people read that as like I hate him.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't hate him. I'm not his friend.
Yeah.
Right. But like, I don't hate him. But then at the same time, I'm like, I try to give context, like, well, this is why there were some issues between us. And then people were like, get to the point, like, there was an unnecessary video. I'm like, well, no, there's history here.
Yeah.
But then it clicked. There's history here to me because I know all the background dealings.
Yeah.
So I can't necessarily get mad at them for being like, what the fuck was the point of this video for? And I'm like, oh, they weren't there when there was a back and forth on social media between he and I for like, that was like 8 years ago, right? I just assume everybody kind of knew, kind of had a general idea of stuff like that. So that's another kind of like ego hit or ego check I had to kind of put on myself.
Yeah, so I mean that's funny because he is talking about both the things that we kind of called him out for, the tactical mattress salesman and the Lucas Botkin video. So that means that he watched our stream. I'm honored. Clearly had pent up resentment for Lucas. Yeah, I mean he's still talking about it. But yeah, that he he used a lot of words to say very little. Like, hey, Lucas used to criticize me when I worked for the NRA, and I didn't really like that. And moving on, although I think that was like an 8-minute section in his video or something like that. Yeah. Invite Colin on the panel. Listen, if Colin wants on, I will let him on anytime. Anytime he wants to come on and talk, it will be a wonderful conversation, I am sure. All right. But honestly, I think we're going to leave it there. There wasn't quite as much meat in there as I would have wanted to respond to because, again, this would be something that I would need to cut down to about 6 minutes for it to be actual relevant information for us. So I know Protraband was going through it, but yeah, it's not. It's most of it is him brushing about being a gun content creator is hard. It's not. They pontificate over the fact that other genres of YouTube have more views. That just is what it is. And they go out of the way not to mention any channel name specifically. Yeah, that's another thing that I dislike. If you're going to talk about other people, like just be honest, like XYZ person did XYZ thing at this point, and I disagree with him because of XYZ. It feels weird when you just don't address the actual problem or concern that you have with somebody.
I think, yeah, I was going to say, it feels really strange when, and I'm hesitant to want to listen to what someone has to say if they talk around a subject or don't own what they're talking about. If they're not confident in what they're saying and they're saying a lot, but they're not really getting at a specific thing, or they're not really owning what they're saying, it kind of devalues what they're saying, to me at least. I mean, I don't know if you guys want to give input on it, but when you dance around something, you don't own what you're saying, like, hey, this is what I identify as messed up, this is what I like, this is what I don't. I think it dilutes what the point you're getting at, if that kind of makes sense.
No, I agree 100%. I wish people would just say exactly what they mean. Because I think there's this faux professionalism where you can't say something negative about a product or a person, which I never understood from a product perspective. Like, I've had people tell me that you can't say something negative about a product before sending it back for the company to fix the problem. And I'm like, I don't agree with that. Like, if you have a problem with the product, you should be able to talk about it whenever the heck you feel like. And the same thing, if I feel like somebody says something stupid, like, again, this is not a private platform. This is YouTube. You put your video, your product out here for everyone to see, to view, specifically to see and to view, right? And so it is free for criticism.
Yeah, to be professional, you can't call out bad behavior or a bad product. That's just silly.
And again, if this screenshot that I just threw up, this sort of thing is where we have a problem. Nobody cares about people making lots of money on YouTube. You can make lots of money, all the money in the world, but we just got to be honest, though. I think that's where people have a problem.
I'm glad if you make a lot of money. I just want you to do it ethically.
Yes. Yep. That's a really good way of putting it.
Sid Arsenal says, just review 100-year-old stuff and no one gets upset when you complain. True. Yeah, you can critique anything as long as nobody actually is trying to defend their purchase about it, right? Or trying to argue that, no, actually, because I spent $1,200 on a Prodigy, it's the best gun of all time. So take that.
No, just review 100-year-old guns and then you can end up getting an award for best gun reviewer of the year.
Damn. You got you've got a lot of accounts, a lot of information to go off of and draw off of.
I mean, let's be real. It was May who won the award. No.
Deservedly.
Testing 2741 says optimal that bunk bed and face make you look 13. Bunk beds are mega based, bro.
Well, we talked about this already. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is even more based than a normal bunk bed. It's a bunk bed up top, but the bottom is a futon that folds into a couch. Okay? It's badass, and you're just jealous.
It's for casual sleeping on the bottom, competitive ranked sleeping on the top, okay?
Do you wear a harness?
It's a higher server.
Yeah. That's your high elo server.
Solo Gordo for 499 says, I have a feeling there will be more suppressed shooting in cities for the 4th of July. Please be safe and responsible, fellas. True. I want a quick warning to everybody out in the chat right now, all 800 of you. This will be your last stream with all 10 fingers intact. Somebody out there is going to do it. I'm very sorry to hear, but when we see you on Friday, some of you will be missing digits.
Yeah. Last year for 4th of July, me and my buddies were shooting bottle rockets at each other.
A super fun time.
Yeah, and now my girlfriend has a permanent scar on her finger where she held on to the bottle rocket for too long and it blew up in her face. So be careful.
That happens sometimes. Just happens.
Also, my great grandfather, when he died, he had one pinky and half a thumb because he held on to an M80 when he was a kid. You will lose everything.
Ooh, brother. Ouch. Painful.
If you're gonna do dumb stuff, at least do it safely.
Nope, record it.
What's that song? If you're gonna be dumb, you gotta be tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you get knocked down, you gotta get back up.
Gabriel Baker for 499 says, so tired of content creators hiding behind pro-capitalist stances to obfuscate their extremely scummy practices. Just walking billboards, useless. Yeah, no, and I think that sums it up. A walking, talking billboard. That's what a lot of these people are. And they hide behind, oh, well, I'm a capitalist, so I had to take their money and lie about the product, or just not be as honest as I should have been about the product, right? I had to. Listen, guys, they wouldn't have paid me this much money unless I did. Well, therein lies the problem, good sir. Thank you for the 499, Gabriel Baker. And my wife is still commenting for 199, says, let the feral Tito/pedo loose. No, not the bear. Don't bring back the bear pair. But thank you for the 199.
That's actually how it's saved in my files as Pear Bear.
Pear Bear. ABC Lifestyle for 2 says, Colin is a professional persuader. Nuff said. Yeah, persuading you from your hard-earned money, I suppose.
So he has Jedi powers?
He's got something going on. He's not, I think Ruger has a thing for him. Man for $20 says, we here at Raid Moonman Legends and our partners at Huge Ass VPN are uncomfortable with the idea of Richard not being here for the Colin Noir interview. As your sponsors and benevolent patrons, we must protest. Well, my sponsors have spoken, so therefore Richard will have to be at the Colin Noir podcast. It happens. Should be a good time.
I will just sit quietly in the back.
Lost Air 499 says, where is that super strong, super handsome lifter that was in here before? Pretty sure he died of cringe, good sir. I hope you're not too sore after your leg day, Mr. Arrow. Testing 2741 for 2 says, anyone using the word toxic unironically is gay. I kind of agree with that, good sir. You guys are so toxic. It's like, well, what you really mean is that we called you out on your bad behavior. Can you speak to your bad behavior or defend it? If not, then I don't know, say whatever you want, I guess.
I guess if you're making up bad behavior that doesn't exist, that would be toxic. But if it's
right, or we were just making stuff up. But if it's like we were pretty specific in our complaints, address the complaints. If good, adjust. If not good, say so. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Chad is toxic, but we weren't on the panel.
Okay, I will be honest, chat. You guys are a little toxic. Okay, could you guys calm it down?
Speak for yourselves. I enjoy it.
We need to bring it down here.
Yeah, I don't listen, guys. I don't regulate the chat. Okay, it kind of just does its thing. Okay, it's just down there. They're fighting it out, and I don't know who's winning. I just know it's not me. Sheep Herder 911 for 499 says, "Did you guys dump on the Braun rail light yet? I bought 2, and they have a little play on certain pistol rails, but it can be fixed." We did talk about that. Yeah, they are going to get sued into oblivion by Streamlight because they're quite literally the exact same thing. So,
what do you think the chances are of them coming out with a deal like what Smith & Wesson did with Glock, where they just get paid like $10 per unit and they get to crank them out?
Who knows?
I don't know how that stuff works, but that'd be pretty funny.
Thank you for the 499. And Dr. Fuzzy One becomes a new member. Well, he did figure it out eventually. Yeah, buddy. Good job, man. We appreciate you. The Discord link is pinned in chat. If you can make it past the single question answer that somehow stumps 90% of people that get into the Discord, but you'll figure it out, Dr. Fuzzy. I believe in you. Huge Ass for 499 says, Clitoris, Nigeria has the vocabulary of an English 101 student. Well, I mean, technically that's higher than average, so that's not terrible. Thank you, Huge Ass, for the 499. 6 Hour for 499 says, if Colin is here, where are the blowfish? It's a good question. Gabriel Baker for 199 says, be understanding. Colin is paid by the word. Damn, actually, that's if you're getting paid
all
by
lawyers
the word,
are.
I would throw a few more in there. Jeez.
I think all lawyers charge by the word now.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I think everything nice that I said about Dr. Fuzzy, I take it back. It's over. It says, Discord link queen, Daddy gave you his membership. Not now, kitten.
You're not going to pass the questionnaire.
No, yeah, ban this man. Ban him now, mods. Hit him with hammers. Where's my hammer squad?
Hammer squad? Get him.
Yeah, get him. Get that man. Actually, know what? I cast testicular torsion.
Testicular torsion!
That's rough.
A painful clip.
Yeah, and it's real too. That's the problem. 911 for 499 says, recently bought the HK CC9, but I haven't had a chance to hit the range for testing. You fine gentlemen have a chance to put hands on one. Thoughts? I think I've handled one and it felt fine. Like it fit my hands pretty well. Other than that, it seems like another Glock 19 sized handgun.
I was holding one earlier today, just a couple hours ago, and in the hand, I could not tell the difference between it and a Taurus G3C.
They do look similar. Unfortunately,
they look similar. They felt similar.
As somebody who shot a Taurus G3, they're not the worst handgun on there, and I'm sure the HK is put together a little bit better. So
the Taurus had one thing going for it that was nice, and it would accept surplus SIG 226 magazines. So you could pick them up for dirt cheap.
I thought everybody had 100 320 magazines lying around, like that one video.
Yeah.
Somebody asked for a specific clip. They want the tarred clip or the Cope Seethe mauled. I'll have to see if I can find that. I have so many clips floating around that it is actually astounding that I can find anything in my impressive downloads folder. Oh dear.
Which one does he want?
He wants the Cope Seethe mauled one. This one here. He wants that one. I just I have so many of them, and it is somewhere in here. But he's trying to win an argument, so I have to send it to him so he can actually win his argument by posting that to the person.
That's the best way to win an argument.
Yeah, it's like, hey, Focus Strip, I know you're on a stream with 800 people, but can you send me that one meme reaction clip you have so that I can win this argument on Telegram? Please, I need it. That's absolute Moon Man for you. He says, can I get that Cope Seethe mauled clip posted in the Discord? I need to use it in a Telegram argument. Dude, I'm looking for it. I'm looking for it, brother.
It's worth it for him. So
I'm trying to Moon Man. I know. Well, yeah, you could screen grab it, but I have the original.
There's another one that you could send him. There's always the alternative.
Have you ever been feasted by an African king? It'll be me. God damn it.
Don't send him that. That'll win you an
Damn
argument.
it. Dude, I wish these were actually saved with their real names. If I actually went through the time to just type out the clip name properly. Can I download it from here? Please tell me I can download it. I can't. Damn it.
Save.
I will see if I can send it to you. Sorry, bro. I can't find it right now. We already looked at that one. Testing at 2741 for $2 says, FYI, Lucas says toxic a lot. See? But does he say it ironically? I think that's the question we were getting at. Because if you say it unironically, like legitimately being like, oh my gosh, this person is so toxic, it's probably a little bit homosexual. Hugh Jazz 49 says, I am so fucking retarded. Me too, dude. Me too. Same, bro. Same. Well, hey, that is all that we had tonight. I did see that. Are these guys still streaming? We are the house is still streaming. If you're
Nothing
gonna
ever
pass it around.
changes.
Nothing ever happens.
So if
Interesting.
you want to check private chat real quick, we can cover the bill that got squashed earlier because the suppressor language and the NFA language that was added specifically by Clyde. It turns out that he's one of 4 people who voted no on advancing the big beautiful bill, and the MAGA team is not happy with him whatsoever. So Clyde is the one who we were covering earlier. I am not familiar with Brian Fitzpatrick, but Victoria Sparta is actually Victoria Sparts. They misspelled her name. She is a congresswoman from Indiana, and she is the one who grilled the ATF director after Brian Malinowski was killed. And I have a lot of confidence that she is probably siding with Clyde and voting no explicitly because of the language surrounding the NFA Act.
Okay, so they're voting no on the big beautiful bill, but I thought his amendment specifically got shut down. Am I wrong about that, or am I correct about that?
I think that he is voting no because his amendment got shut down.
Okay, so they're voting no to make sure that it doesn't pass so that he can, because they're going to have to keep re-voting on it and readjusting it as they go, right? Until
Correct.
it passes.
Correct.
Okay,
And whoever
well, then
MAGA
that's
voice is,
semi-based.
whoever MAGA voice is, they are absolutely retarded because these 4 are doing God's work as far as I'm concerned.
Right. Well, I think you have the generic people that don't know what they're talking about, and they're like, but they're voting no on the bill that is like the good. So can we get
It's
that?
it's
Yeah,
called
they call
a
them-
big beautiful bill. It must be good. It's big and beautiful.
They call them
Just like
rhinos.
my wife.
And oh god. They call them rhinos, and then right underneath of it, if you read the first comment there, it's a guy who is actually in favor of him voting no. So, and it's his representative. So, if anybody has the right to speak on it, I think it should be him.
Let them cook.
Yeah, let them work it out. So this is the actual live stream by the AP, right? Let me refresh this real fast, make sure this is up to date.
Not a flake one like last time.
Yeah,
Indian
the actual
scammers.
AP. So started 14 hours ago. So they are at what? No for 217, yay for 207, and then no vote or nothing for 8. So yeah, it looks like they need to flip another, what is that, 12 Republicans? Or 11 Republicans, I should say. So if as it stands right now, it is not going to pass at all, so they will have to re-add the amendments in or fight it out, I guess.
The land sale thing was reduced, right? Or removed? It was reduced
It
by
was
like
removed.
90%. Okay.
Yeah, so they
People are in
removed
the
it.
chat talking about the HPA and Short Act. That's a good sign.
They removed the land sale bill, and then he tried to shoehorn it back in, and he got called out for it, and then had to remove it again. So
Nice.
I wouldn't put it past him trying to weasel it back in after this, if it's at all possible.
Hmm.
I love my local BLM land. I love going on hikes like 5 minutes from my house. Please don't sell it. It's the only thing good that I have near me.
I wish I liked the BLM land that I was surrounded by.
I see RC in chat trying to start the end tower. So,
Dude,
there it goes.
they are. Yeah, I
There
see
it goes.
all GunTube's ass. There they are. You guys are gonna get banned. Good luck. Good luck, homies over there. We appreciate you. Are they actually talking right now, or what is it? What is this live? Because I have it on audio's all the way up. What's going on?
Just muted on their end, maybe.
They're sauntering
probably is.
around doing
They
nothing,
are
being old.
well, they are arguing about it because somebody has to. They're like, okay, well, it didn't pass. Now what do we do? And then I guess Clyde and the others are like, well, listen, you have to add these to the bill or else I'm voting no. Absolute Moonman for $5 says, ask somebody with 5,000 memes on my phone. Being able to search them would be great. So anyway, if somebody would make an anime girl edit a vintage doing that rant, that would actually be very funny. I could probably get that done for you with a little bit of AI trickery. But thank you, Absolute Moonman, for 5. 50 TN CSA for 5 says, I bought a 9mm Springfield Ronin as a Project 1911. I figured it would be a decent base to build on. What do you guys think? Unless you like to tinker with 1911s, I would never buy a handgun as a decent base to tinker with, if that makes sense, personally. Now, if you like project guns, like you like project cars, maybe that's a fun thing for you to do as like a hobby. Like for me, when a gun isn't working right, I'm just not happy with it, especially if I paid money for it. Like, I'm not having a good time. And as part of my job is to fix other people's problems with their guns, I just don't enjoy having my own guns not do what they're supposed to do. So
imagine being Springfield and your guns are so bad that people buy them for the purpose of fixing them for fun.
Doug, that's
Could
so
be
funny.
worse.
It's a brand new gun too. It's not like buying it. You're buying a 30-year-old project car just to fix it up or whatnot. You're buying a brand new gun as a fixer-upper.
All right, let's get to working.
Rough. You know what? Honestly, that tells you everything you need to know about Springfield.
Yeah, it could be worse.
Appreciate
I still say that that's a positive alternative to the P320. So good for him.
True. Dogman Defense on Rumble for $1 says, keep walking, Siga. This is a PDP neighborhood. PDP maxing over
That's
on Rumble.
amazing.
Appreciate it, sir.
There was
Mr. Goonbeam is in the chat, just reeing it out.
Nice.
Yeah, Project Guns go in a locker and I forget about them. True. I just don't shoot them or I sell them. I pawn them off to somebody else. Like, I am not dealing with this.
I have
Here
a
you
gun
go,
that does-
poor schmuck on Gunbroker.
Yeah.
Or Discord.
If I have
Or
a
just
That's why I've got like a half dozen posts in the buy sell trade right now. It's just I have so many projects and I'm just
They're still trying. They're still trying in chat.
one of these days they'll get it.
You'll get it, homies. I believe in you. If nobody else does, I do.
Fighting the
You gotta
good
do a
fight.
3, 2, 1 countdown.
Yeah, do it all. We got to coordinate it on our side over here. Shepherd Defense or Sheep Herder, sorry, for 911 for $4.99 says all MAGA voice type accounts are online, are run by an Indian man with names like Printar Dahabubat, and they live primarily in Bangladesh. Yes, dude, the Iranian military, their Twitter account forgot to log off and then started posting about Sydney Sweeney. Was it? I want to say.
Awesome.
And so, but from the official Iranian military account. So it's like, yeah, all these accounts run by. Let me see if I can find it for you.
That's
While
pretty
you-
awesome.
That's
While you
great.
pull it up, there was this happened a few years ago. It was like Fort Campbell's or like Fort Benning's official Facebook page or something was posting under an OnlyFans accounts, and somebody had to have gotten pee slapped for that. They forgot to switch accounts, and
Somebody lost their position and had to do many a push-up.
yeah, well, in that scenario, that's probably like, okay, so I'm not going to try to get super army nerdy here, but a post normally has a 2-star, 1 to 2-star general. Whoever manages that's probably like a captain or a major then who manages that account. So that's not push-ups, that's paperwork.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's fun. That's what that is. It's funny. I get to point and laugh online.
It is funny to point and laugh
Aha.
online.
Absolute Moon Man's over. Oh, I see what he's trying to do.
What is he doing? Oh, you
He's
guys,
super
you guys are being
chatting.
mean. Oh,
He's
is he
super
really?
chatting.
No
He's,
way.
yeah, he's super chatting.
No, shout out to Focus Trip, and you gave the Associated Press $5, bro. That's wild, dude.
Just to
And
start
let's
an end
see,
tower.
NI $20 or it doesn't count. G. I am so glad that my name is being brought up among end towers on the 4 million subscriber Associated Press account. If they have any mods in their chat right now, lay oops.
Lay oopsie.
Oh, there's another G.
Ray Guitard.
Oh, there's a third G. You messed it up.
Dude, so shout out to Ray Guitard for letting me borrow his CZ Shadow 2 at the last match. That was very nice. And that has only furthered my desire to get a Shadow 2 or a TS2.
That was very Pride Monthy of him.
It was the last or the second to last day of June, so it checks out.
So I love CZs. I am a hipster through and through, but I think the best CZ75 is Italian.
You've mamaed your last Mia.
Tampos are just nice.
I
They really are nice.
I don't think I've ever shot a CZ before, so I can't relate.
The Tamfolio is probably the best one out there as far as all of the CZ variants. It's just
bold claim.
I don't know. I hear everybody has to do all sorts of internal work to get them set up for comp use. So versus like a Shadow 2 out of the box, like I would just run.
I see people when I went to the USPSA match last, I saw a lot of people who had Shadow 2s.
It seems like it's Shadow 2s, Tamfolios, or 2011s. That's the majority of people who are shooting comps. That the Tamfolio was like.
Oh, there it is. Sorry, I found the tweet. It was not Sydney Sweeney. It was Billie Eilish.
Oh, that's even worse.
Yeah, so Iranian military news. Stunning in pink. Love this bold and glamorous look. Hashtag Billie Eilish. It's like,
that's awesome.
And Iranian military news. Forgot to swap accounts. Crying emoji. Oops. Just, I think that's Haram or something like that. I'm not sure. Mitzvah TV for 49 says, speaking of broken guns, what about that PSA upper? Is it still working? Yeah, no, it's working fine. It just had that one weird thing that happened to it. It's sitting in my closet right now. If you need that back by a certain time, let me know because I'm going to be gone back in Washington State for a couple weeks in July. So let me know if you need that back. I will send it all back to you. We got to see family, so it's like Washington family. It evens out.
You going in mid-July?
Mid-July, yeah.
Okay.
Mid-July to end of July. So
yeah,
I got a couple weeks. The end is near. Beware for $10. Says no lie. Mid 80s had 75-ish old church chief missing 3 fingers on one hand. Asked how, and he said him and his sis were splitting wood, and he put it on a stump and said she wouldn't dare cut them off. She did.
Wow.
Yeah. His sister back in the day cut his fingers off, calling his bet. Damn.
They don't make them like they used to.
I guess not, dude. They really did have it harder growing up. But thank you for the $10. The end is near. Beware. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And for the story time. Ethan Mitchell for 199 says buying a Prodigy is like buying a Mustang. You take that back. I've driven a lot of Mustangs. I have liked exactly one of them. But thank you, Ethan, for the 199. Dude, it was somebody's wacky custom tune thingamajig that he had done. So it was this was 2 years ago. I was actually at, I think, the Palmetto State Armory gathering, and I rented somebody's V8 Mustang on Turo, which is just somebody's custom tuned rig, basically. And it was fun to drive. It worked. It actually shifted when I wanted to. So that was the one Mustang I've enjoyed driving.
SV89 got a solid tower in there.
No, did he really?
Yep.
No, bro, that's wild, dog. They're just gonna. You're getting reinforcements. They're trying. Okay, well, at least hit the like button on their stream if we're gonna grace them with a tower. Damn.
How does he get? Man's got quick fingers.
Yes. Weekend Gunner says, "Would you like a ridiculously unreliable Beretta as a project gun?" No, thank you. I've heard that you spent like $300 on springs for that handgun, and I just said no. Actually, speaking of Beretta, I think I am getting a Squallow in for review from a gentleman. So it's a single action only Squallow that I will be playing around with for a while. Not buying, but just playing around with for a while. So that'd be cool. Logan sucks at shooting for 5. Sorry, it says get a 2011 and join the Limited Optics crew where the real gamers live. 2011s, man, they just blend in. You got to get a TS2 to be the real hipster in Limited Optics. So that's the plan. It's a TS2 for Limited. But thank you, Logan. And yeah, me, Logan, and Lance are going to be at Area 3 Champs in September together. So we'll probably do some fun content with that. That'll be a good time.
SV's going hard.
Is he still doing it? Brother. Oh my gosh.
He's yeah.
How is
silly goose.
How is the rest of the chat going with him?
Oh no, the most recent donation was a No Kings donation though, which is pretty cool.
Reality Bites for 5 says Republicans are having spine transplant surgery in Chip Roy's office. ... Wonder if it hurts. Gay. No kings in America. All right. Whatever, lady. Mitzvah TV says August would be cool. Yes, I can get it back to you by August. I miss my spear. No rush. Understood, sir. And I appreciate you letting me borrow for so long. All right. Well, if these guys were talking, we could listen into them, but I think it's just going to be like this for another 8 to 10 hours. So I don't know if we want to sit here and listen to these or not even listen to these geriatrics do their thing.
You can run it back a little bit and see what they had to say. If they did say anything.
Dude, this is where? It's 14 hours.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Where do you want me to go to? Oh yeah. Dude, this is office ambiance. Just close your eyes like you're taking a nap at work.
I'm about
that's
to.
what it feels like. Yeah. Stephen Miller 103 says real men shoot a stock Glock. You know what, Stephen?
True and real.
Production
Spencer,
only.
Sorry, not Stephen. Spencer. Spencer, I totally agree with you, sir. But unfortunately, stock Glocks lose out to heavily modified Canics by 4 points because if you would consult the graph, good sir, that is Mr. Campbell on top, and that is Spencer underneath him. So yeah, you know. Thanks, Spencer. I appreciate it. Spencer's going to be there too, so that should be a good time. Although speaking of stock Glocks, like we said earlier, Brantley Merriam did take second in USPSA Nationals with the stock 17. So they're still mega based.
Production supremacy.
Yeah. And now that does not mean that I like the Canic. That means that I shoot a Canic. Okay, it's different. Yeah, stream to sleep too. He did it again. Gosh dang it. This guy's wild.
Unstoppable.
He is
unstoppable.
But the funny thing is now randos are just joining in with him.
Yeah.
It's not even people from our chat. It's just the people from the AP chat.
I mean, SV89 is 10th prestige ranked racism, so.
Oh yeah, people are saying just to report and block them now. You guys are gonna get deleted. Neil W says SV89, they need you back at 4chan, bro. Moon Man's over there. All GunTube his ass is over there. They're trying. F the MAGA death cult. Interesting. And NIG GER is over there as well, and he doesn't even need to type to get the full tower in there. Damn. Yeah, dude, they are going at it. They will not stop. Unbelievable.
Unhinged.
He's in the competitive leagues. Yeah. He can't keep getting away with it. He's still doing it. Chuck McGill for 189 says, I am SV89's top guy. His top guy, true. Actually, what's funny, Spencer, is he says, look out, I have a mag extension now for 2. I think he would have won that competition if he had a mag extension because he had one extra reload on a stage that probably cost him the 4 points between us. Because I think there was only 4 points between first and second. So if he actually had a mag extension, he probably would have won that match. So I gotta be scared now. I was scared before, but now I have to be extra scared. All right. Well, if we don't have anything else to cover urgently, because I don't think this is going to be changing anytime soon, Richard, what do you got coming on or going on before we get out of here tonight, sir?
For those who don't know by now, I think you're probably got some brain damage, but I do run the second channel, the Out of Focus Clips channel. I take the stream and I cut it up into little bite-sized bits that are easier to consume. So if you could go over there and subscribe, we're just almost to, we're just a few subscribers away from hitting 4,000, which is something that I never expected to happen that quick. So you guys are amazing, and thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to do this.
Yeah, no, and I mean, it is essentially the stream, just in much more consumable bits. So I totally get why it's blowing up, because people don't necessarily want to sift through a 3-hour live stream to find the interesting bits. They want the 10-minute section served up to them.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and it works out great.
On a silver platter. It's pretty entertaining.
I might change the name of that channel, because I might just change it to Focus Trip Clips instead of Out of Focus Clips, because that's a stupid name. I don't know why I chose that name.
Just change it to Focus Clips.
Yeah, Focus Clips. Or
I think Focus Clips is already on YouTube, though.
Yeah,
well, not
I'll
with
figure it out,
Tiki.
though.
Yeah, regular Focus
Cool
Clips
shade.
is a chubby little Indian dude.
Damn, Dogman Defense is over there now. It is just a wall of letters over there now.
You know what, though? I respect them for not deleting
That's funny.
it.
Testing 2741 for 2 says pass the Clyde amendment. Hey, Focus Trip. Hey, Testing. Hope you're having a good night over there. Wait, why are you guys donating to the AP when you
I
keep
know.
donating over here? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I'm just kidding, homies. It's for the entertainment.
Give John money now.
Trip clips. Well, yeah, now everybody's going to create trip clips and focus clips with 2 Ps and then try and sell them to me back.
Dude, I'm on it right now.
John's like, I just made money tonight. Heck yeah.
I know how to make a quick buck.
Was it T97 thought the Narinko, whatever her name is now? She was going through and trying to buy up web domains and stuff.
Oh yeah, she was doing that. She was doing that to Lucas, I think.
Yeah,
just all these silly names. Yeah, they are not stopping. Richard, give me a chirp. Absolutely, they're donating over there for Richard's commands. That's amazing.
Well, I guess I gotta give the people what they want.
Yeah, this is just a good one. Trit for 499 says send them to Alligator Alcatraz. Mega.
No, I couldn't believe they put that place up in 8 days.
Bro, have you seen what China is able to accomplish in a number of days?
Yeah, but China has roads and stuff there. This is in the middle of the freaking swamp.
Anything's possible with child slave labor.
I was gonna say with slave labor.
But it took them 8 days.
Wait, are you making a positive case for slave labor? Are you saying it's hyper efficient?
Yes.
Tiny hands make light work of all things.
Ray Guitard's trying to get in on it, but it's now the chat's moving too fast. Follow Focus Trip for top gay gun news. Thank you, Hook, for $2. That's amazing. Yeah. Go over there and then just link to my
advertise.
Channel. Yeah, advertise. Yeah, advertise this channel over there.
Shill for us, making fun of shills.
Yeah, because nothing is happening right now, right? They're just talking it out. Focus Trip yeah, dude. No paper trail. No paper trail back to us, please.
Too late.
ABC Lifestyle for 2 says SV89. Your first choice was SV69, wasn't it?
He doesn't know what that is.
What is SV89? Do I not know what that is?
No, he doesn't. As in SV89 doesn't know what 69 is.
Oh, yeah. He's not in the right generation.
Moon Man's over there talking about Tito Pair and super chats.
That's amazing.
Forced labor is effective and efficient. True. Thank you, testing. 2741. They're gonna be like, why is this is Tito Parrot Country? They're gonna be like, why is this random stream making more money? We need to do this more often.
Yeah, because AP needs the money.
Yeah,
they do.
I mean, they have 3,700 people watching. Stop the bill, eat the rich. Eat the rich. That's rude. Oh my gosh. Oh, he almost got it too. He was one letter off.
Dang.
Damn. All that.
How are they
work
typing
wasted.
that fast?
Dude, I don't know. Dubs in the chat.
It's
nothing. I mean, nothing has changed with the numbers, so I don't know what they're waiting for.
They're wasting our tax dollars.
I was to say they're probably.
Oh my god! Chuck McGill 199 says, "Who's letting these pavement apes vote?" Hi, Focus. Unbelievable.
Absolutely
dude.
wild.
Yeah, every time I think about Napa, North American pavement apes. Yeah,
they're everywhere nowadays.
AP is going to get a slew of chargebacks. Yeah, it's going to be rough. The $17. Shh. Glow Bright. Hey, I'm on Kiwi Farms. I think I mentioned in one of the Kiwi Farms about somebody else, so I am on there technically. No, we can raid another channel. I am not recommending that you go over there and type things. I am just noticing that people are doing that. In fact, I would recommend against doing that because that would be against YouTube's terms of service.
Yeah.
Inshallah, Palestine shall be free. Focus trip. Cleric of White Sharia. True. That is my new title. I am the Cleric of White Sharia. Thank you, Moonman, for 5 over on AP. Digest the wealthy and defecate. Interesting. What lovely people are in this chat tonight. Focus trip sent us. Yes, of course. Thank you.
Guys, remember, paper trail to the max.
Maximum Fed post on the AP, please. Or apparently they just don't have any moderators, so you can do literally whatever you want over there.
I respect them though, because they're just letting chat flow.
2A EDU, sure. Let's see, 2A EDU. See,
it's almost certain one or both of the chambers of Congress are going to flip to the opposite party after there's a trifecta. It's very rare to see one party be in charge of president, House, and Senate at the same time. It usually, well, chances are 4 out of 5 that it won't last more than 2 years.
Yeah, I would have Navy Man on. I've talked to him before. So I'm pretty sure. What do I have? I have him in some contact service I have him with. So yeah, I would have Navy Man on. He's good as far as I'm concerned.
Mistake. What?
I know he comments on.
No, I know all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah, he comments on everything.
But maybe they'll get a little less done.
Oh, is he watching the chat? I wanted to pull up the chat to see us.
The less these people do anything, the better.
Oh, come on. I don't know. Gotta have.
Yeah, guys, the Clyde Amendment is not in. This is exactly word for word, comma for comma, identical.
I'm gonna donate to his stream to get him to pull up the AP
passed
chat.
in the Senate the other night. This is an amazing chat. That's why we're hanging out on this channel right now.
Damn it.
Dang.
Who does that? Comes into someone's chat and is like going to somebody else's chat instead of this one.
Oh, he's getting called out. Get him out of
here. What if I come over to your party and I'm like, everybody leave this party to go to this other one down the street?
Now we're gonna.
I do have some super chats I want to read. Thanks, guys, and sorry for the delay here. I just saw these come in. Rudy Fenney, channel member, super chat for 36 months. Dude, thanks, man. I really appreciate all of your support. 35 months. I'm sorry. I can read.
Boo this
he
man.
Says bad stuff.
I don't know if T2A EDU is actually bad or
right now. They don't have the votes, Rudy.
I don't know, guys. Let me actually pause that. All right, gentlemen, we're actually just gonna end it here because we can't do this all night. I mean, we could, but
I have to go to work tomorrow.
It's fine. Don't worry about that. What's more important, work and sustaining yourself and your family, or your cringe internet friends?
Cringe internet friends.
Yep, 100%.
So, Dave, what do you got coming up other than work?
I gotta go to work tomorrow. I gotta go visit my grandfather and interview him about his time in Vietnam. And I have family visiting town tomorrow.
Oh,
So
Nice.
pretty cool
It'll be a
week.
good time. SBR says, when are y'all going to interview the super safety guys that are getting sued by Rare Greed? Yeah, I reached out to them, and we are allegedly setting up a chat to talk to the people who are getting sued by Rare Breed for their super safety stuff. So that will be in the future. I'm working on it. Bones, what do you got coming up, good sir, other than more hot takes on the Ruger RXM?
That was it. That was my one hot take. No more to follow as of right now. Man, I think the next I have a NTC coming up, so I'm gonna be away from home for like a month. So it's gonna be, unless I get something to upload while I'm away from home, which I don't know if I'll be able to do. There's gonna be a dry spell, but we're gonna try to get out one more video. I think it might be the AR9 build in the PCC video, considering that did pretty well, and I think it's it'll be pertinent to the conversation of how and why I put it together. And that will probably be the next one I do, I think. I hope everybody has.
I would recommend trying to get like one video in, like a, just schedule it for 2 weeks out.
Yeah.
So something in the middle of while you're gone. That's what I would do.
Yeah, that'll probably be the move if I can get that done, because I think I leave the 12th. So I got 10 days to get something put together, which I'll probably be able to do. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying this little adventure on YouTube. It's been a really fun time so far. It's been interesting, and I guess everybody have a safe but fun 4th of July, and check in on the homies.
100%. All right. Noob Actual 499 says, I just started using Discord. I got in the invite, but not sure what to do after. Help, Mr. Mustache Man. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, Noob Actual. The answer is number 3. Like, obviously, there's only one violation that will get the server nuked, and it's rule number 3, okay? All right? Keep this between me and you, but the only thing you need to post to get out of the proving ground is rule number 3. That's it. Okay? Not too complicated.
There's
It's just
been
a
people,
TARD test.
there's been people who just repost the same wrong rule over and over for 2 weeks. And even after I DM them and say, hey, if you're reposting the same one, it's probably not the right one, they still keep doing it.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally like, it's like, don't be an elitist, don't be like NSFW or something like that. It's like, but one will actually get the server nuked, and it's rule number 3. So that's the one you have to follow. Weekend Gunner asks, who's getting sued? There is a collection of super safety developers, makers, owners, so on and so forth, that have received paperwork from Rare Breed and are going to be following through with the lawsuit. And I am going to be talking with the offending parties at some point in the future. That's the plan.
People locked away in the airlock, just like, step 1, secure the keys.
Step 1, dude. That's true. They're trying to figure it out.
Yeah, trying to figure it out.
It's just so simple. Yeah. But yeah, we got more videos coming out. I got my next, I'll give you the title of my next video. It is called The Corpse of the Trident. That is that's the next video title. Should be fun. Should be a fun one. I've been working on for a long time now. It is as bad as you think the title is. So yeah. No, it's not, Sheep Herder. That's a lie. That's a lie. Close, but it's a lie. Thank you, Sheep Herder, for the 199. Appreciate it. Yeah, stronger than Night Fighter after his father. True. All right, but with all that out of the way, gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. I will see you in the next one. God bless. And have a wonderful 4th of July, even though I will be talking to you on 4th of July. Good night.
Adios.